Welcome to the Race for Europe here on 12th Man Podcast. We've got a massive show. We've got some latecomers. That's why we're late, waiting for the usual suspects. Tobes is going to pop in when he pops in. Waiting for Errol, who's, I thought he'd be well eager to come back on this show. But of course, listen, the main talking point, Arsenal. Are they still favourites? The wheels falling off. We've got Magic Mike from the Gooners Pod stepping in for Judges, who has had the sort of journey from hell trying to get home. He may still pop on, so stick to the end. He said he might pop on as well, so we'll have two Gooners to face the music. So thanks for coming on, Mike.
Pleasure to be here. Looking forward to this chat today. Although, I just think, like I told you, I think Judges is just he doesn't want to talk about yesterday, so he sticks me on to do it for him.
Yeah. I spoke to him briefly on the phone, and he wasn't happy.
How many of the words that he said to you on the phone were me, like what I mean, what I mean, like
quite a lot.
Was that the whole conversation?
Yeah, quite a lot. But yeah, honestly, that is a big talking point. Dan is, look at him. Look how happy Dan is here. I haven't seen him in a while. And look, he's buzzing. And did you ever think, right? I mean, I know it was a good game, Dan, but Man United versus Barcelona, like 10, 15 years ago, that game would have been like must-watch, huge game.
It was the Champions League final.
Night. Yeah. No one's really talking about, Man United fans, but it's not like, oh my God, everyone's talking about it. They was the Man City Arsenal game yesterday. That just shows how crazy times are.
Mate, honestly, it was a race to get home from work and watch it. I watched the first half in the pub around the corner from work, and then halftime dashed back home. It just had everything, mate. Honestly, I'm so proud of the boys. Considering you think about it, we played with Luke Shaw at centre-back, no Sabitzer, and Weghorst up top. Do you know what I mean? I just, honestly, I dare I say it, but Ten Hag is building something there, because it's not just about the players anymore. The belief he instills into every one of those lads on the field is just unreal. I mean, Wan-Bissaka was unreal tonight. Unreal.
You lot wanted to get rid of him. You lot wanted to ship him off to us.
Doesn't it just show, though, mate, what a good coach can do with players?
Are you trusting the process, Dan?
Massively, mate. Massively.
Trust it. The pros. You know what? I was with Tobes, filming with Tobes earlier today, and he was saying, he was just kicking himself because he's like, we could have got Ten Hag. We could have got him. And he's
just unreal, mate. He's just, mate. I tell you what, though, I've been talking to a few United fans and over the week, and a lot of people are saying that he could potentially, because we all know with Barca they have that Dutch connection, don't they? One day you perhaps could see him there. I don't know. I mean, he's only just got to us, and he'll be with us a while yet. But just unreal, mate. It's been a good season for United, especially take the first two games of the season out of the way. I mean, we've just everything we could have dreamed for. And I use the word dream because of last season and more. So I loved it. I'm just so happy. Absolutely buzzing.
There's never been a better advertisement for addition by subtraction than what's happened to this team that you support since they got rid of the best player in the world.
Yeah.
I mean,
the turnaround has been so quick.
I mean, the teams are turning around their fortunes not by who they're signing, but by who they're getting rid of. Ozil,
100%.
Ronaldo. 100%. It just shows that team chemistry just, I think, makes a lot more of an impact on performance than individual player skill, and I think it has never been more obvious than this season and what's happened with both of our clubs.
Unreal, and you look at, I mean, the goal that that guy Weghorst is a donkey. I tell you, no, Rashi 10. To be fair, if you watch the game, mate, I thought he defended from the front unreal tonight. He was everywhere, and. He's not a striker that's going to get 15, 20 goals a season for us. But for what we've got at the moment, I thought he was brilliant tonight. He should have put us 1-0 up in the first 20 minutes. He had a golden chance. But like I say, with the players that Ten Hag's got, a lot of people are going on about Eddie Howe being manager of the year and blah blah blah. Fair enough, but Ten Hag has done so much this season. The stuff he's had to deal with this season. And we are in third place. And Lawless, you know me. I've said this. We're not in a title race. We're far away from a title race. I know my limits. But to deal with what he's dealt with this season and be 5 points off top, it's unreal. It's unreal.
Yeah. That, like I say, I did because of Ronaldo, not just Ronaldo. We heard all the reports. We'll start. Like I said, I think a few of the other lads are going to give Arsenal a bit of a kick in. So we'll start with Man United and give the other chance to come in. I mean, there's a lot going on, but yeah, I think with Ten Hag, it was the behind the scenes stuff. We was hearing, Harry Maguire's not happy. Rashford's not happy. They're out there. People were kicking off about training regimes and evening training and all of this. And I heard that. I thought, there's no way like Man United could have a good season this season. This is a long-term project. Like Ten Hag is going to need a few windows to clear out a lot of players and turn things around. And so the fact he's turned things around so quickly, let's bring in Aaron. Look at the smile on this guy's face. I see it straight away in the little window. Look at it. Look at the smile.
What's popping? Oh, wow.
He beat the blue shite, as they call it, and look, it's changed his whole perspective.
Oh, mate, not half. I've been looking forward to this. I've only just seen the link pop up, so sorry I've jumped on a little bit late.
Yeah, no, we got it a bit. I got it to a bit late. It's my bad. So look, but something to take the smile off your face. We're talking about how great Man United are right now, and their future with potential Qatari owners that Liverpool apparently were linked with. They're looking like they're going to buy Man United.
God.
So as soon as he comes in, it's like, let's just pour a little bit of. Do you know what? I saw that smile. Like, let's deal with that.
I love it.
We can't have happy Liverpool fans here.
all the stuff that Manchester United's had to deal with, like having Jadon Sancho, like having. I mean. Let's not. I don't want to rain on your parade too much, but I mean, it's not like they're suffering for. They've had an embarrassment of riches and not knowing how to use them and keep them all happy. That's what Ten Hag has come in and done. But he's not taking a small club and vaulted them to the upper limits of the.
Do you know what the thing is, though, Mike? So, start of the season, we had the players that we lost, which, Pogba, Lingard, which I thought were viruses in the dressing room anyway. I was so happy to see them go. We had the thing with Ronaldo that come out. That was just ridiculous. We had the thing with the Glazers. And then we seem to be overcoming every hurdle because now we've got the Mason Greenwood thing. That, because of how much of a tight-knit squad we've got, and they look like a band of brothers at the moment, they do, that could potentially straight down the middle, cut things to pieces. And I think they've dealt with that correctly.
Is there any intention to bring him back into the fold?
I hope not. I genuinely
can't imagine that they'd be that dumb.
I know the two, and I've said this a lot. I know obviously in England it's innocent till proven guilty, but you can't hide away from the recordings. You cannot hide away from that. So for me, I think personally he'll go and play in China or something like that, or Saudi Arabia or something like that. I can't see him pulling a United shirt, and I don't think Ten Hag would want him there either, to be honest. So
I don't think that's the kind of energy you need around your club right now. So please bring him back. No, but would you ever have thought that the one individual who might have the biggest part in Manchester United's resurgence is Piers Morgan? We knew he's not an Arsenal supporter, but I didn't know he was going to go out of his way to help United.
He'll be turning on Arteta. It's just watching him this past 3 months with the Ronaldo situation and with the Arsenal situation. I've had to silence him on Twitter because I just get so angry reading the stuff that he puts. And like he's so far up Arteta's arse at the moment. But give it another couple of weeks. If I'm not saying it will, but if the wheels do fall off, he'll be straight back on Twitter saying Arteta's got to go.
No, his apology and acceptance of him was just. I mean, that was just pure PR. He's an absolute douche.
Spin. Spin artist, man. He's a spin artist. But yeah, man, you're in a good place right now. Did they finish 2-2 then?
2-2, mate. Yeah, 2-2.
Yeah. Rashford got carrying news on his back again.
Mate, it was a goal that only Rashford could score at the moment in the form he's in. Did you see it?
No.
It's near post, but it's a goal that only Rashford can score at the moment. The form he's in, and hit the form he's in. I think it's the best in Europe, isn't it? I think it is the best in Europe. It's unreal. Since the World Cup, since the start back of the World Cup, he's unreal.
Do you know what I need to see from Rashford though? Because there's the shouts of calling him world class and all of that again, and I just need to see it consistently season
100%.
after season.
100% agree with you, mate. 100%. We've seen it so many times in history.
Stability. This is the one area where I will defend someone like Rashford, because Man U, for as long as Rashford's been at the forefront of anything really to spearhead anything that you're doing, you haven't really been a stable unit. You haven't been a stable squad. Someone said it before. You've had the bit parts, but you've not really been able to produce the best out of them. You've had some really quality players, but you've not been able to get them to gel as a team. And I think he's always been not necessarily a victim, but he's always been a part of that and not been able to really replicate his best form. It's been in peaks and troughs. And I think from his perspective, if Erik ten Hag is the guy that the board are going to back, and if he's going to have the blessing of the board to say you're going to be here with our unlimited confidence for the next 2 to 3 years, I think genuinely Rashford having that relationship with a manager in the way that, you've seen Mane have that relationship with Klopp in the past. You've seen, Harry Kane have that relationship with Poch. When you've got your manager backing you and you're their go-to guy, you will see a much more consistent Rashford. Will he still hit these mad numbers in the purple patch that he's in? That's yet to be seen. But will you see a much more rounded and consistent player? I genuinely think he probably will. And that's where I will defend him, to be completely honest.
Do you know what, though, Errol? I think you're seeing with Rashford now, he is, whether anyone likes it, he's one of the senior figures there now at Old Trafford. Yeah, he's been there for so long. And I think he's actually revelled in it this season. I think he's enjoying the fact he is one of the most senior players in that squad. So you got the likes of Bruno, Casemiro, Varane, De Gea, people like that who have been driving this team forward, and I think he's enjoying it. And the thing for me,
I don't care what anyone says, getting Ronaldo gone might be the right thing.
100%.
He learned so much still from being in and around Ronaldo for 12 months. Yeah. Even if he wasn't able to get the best out of him on the pitch, having that presence and that like elder statesman vibe from Ronaldo has made when I'm getting back to my top form, that's the level of professionalism I need to carry if I'm going to go forward.
Yeah. I agree.
We've got to talk about this takeover, because that came big sources came out today and said it's close. And so, you talked about the board back in Ten Hag. It might be a very different board who have a lot of money. Like you said, Errol, this is obviously linked with you lot. I mean, I'll get your perspective first, Dan, and then the rest of us will chime in. I mean, how do you feel about this potential Qatari investment? What does this mean for the future of Man United?
Well, so there's two aspects of this. In an ideal world, it would be Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who's got the money to buy us, invest in the stadium, invest in the team, and take us forward. That's the ideal situation that any Man United fan would want. He's a United fan. He loves the club. You move forward like that. But sadly, that's not the world we live in now. I know there's a lot of issues with Qatar. I know that, and everybody knows that. The lead up to the World Cup was I thought was horrendous, the way that they treat their people there. But it's one of them, isn't it? If they're putting the money up, and this is by the way, people who will not only put the money up, they will. I don't think they'll sort the stadium out. I think they'll build a new one. I think they will build a new. I firmly believe that they'll build a new stadium. I think if they come to us, it's going to be massive for United. Fans are going to be so divided on
moral level.
Moral level.
Newcastle fans weren't divided with the style. They weren't divided. They were dressing up in the little outfits.
I get that. But the other side, the other thing I worry about though is if these owners come in, I don't want them to come in and say, right, here we are. We've got billions and billions. You're having Neymar. You're having this player. You're having that player. You're having this. You know what I mean? I don't want them to force players into Ten Hag. I still think Ten Hag, I think he's earned the right this season. Whoever comes in for him to say, this is the player I want. I'm not about getting someone who's going to sell names on, the name on the front of the shirt means so much more than the name on the back. And that is something we've got to stay true to. whoever comes in.
They should. I know I just was joking about Newcastle, but they should look at how the Saudis have done at Newcastle.
Yeah.
What they've done, making sure right people are installed, not forcing players on, but getting the right players in, and not just buying names.
Exactly that.
There's two patterns to this. I mean, we've seen Man City, the cheating part aside, Man City didn't go.
Cheating? Say that again.
I could do a whole show on that. But anyway.
Is there any salt in that pool there, Mike, that you're in?
No, it's all in here. But they didn't exactly go and just start building a Galactico team like Real Madrid did, in the early 2000s. They actually were very systematic about it. Started with Robinho, then, and you just started seeing some of these old school Manchester United or City players like Stephen Ireland and that lot getting moved out in favor of much better players, Aguero. But they did one or two a window. They didn't go and change over the team to make it into to try to just build the value of the club based on player names. And I think that's the right way to do it. There's a lot of questions about how they continue to do it year after year after year. But I don't think that that's where you want to go with the direction of this show. But Newcastle's kind of proven the same thing. I mean, they could, if they wanted to, just absolutely splash cash, but they're adding a Guimaraes. Then they're adding they started with Willock, huge addition to the team. And then, they're going one or two a window or one or two a year. And in 4 or 5 years, it'll be a sustainable way of having an incredible squad. And
that's it. Man United right now are in a better foundation than Newcastle were coming from the Ashley era. And so for them, having a top quality manager, having a nucleus of quality players there that they just need to build on, they're in so much stronger position than I think Newcastle was. So they could be challenging it a lot quicker. But Errol, I have to get your perspective on this because these owners were so heavily linked with Liverpool for a while. And,
were they? There's been a lot of chat. There's been a lot of chat. And I think,
maybe it was hopeful fans.
Yeah, well, it's not even the hopeful fans. Obviously, there's no smoke without fire. It's that kind of age-old expression. People online have had certain bits of information drip-fed to them, and that information has done the rounds on social media. And I think a lot of people have kind of got whipped up in the fanfare of the prospective owners being from that Qatari area, understanding what they've done for other football teams and kind of wanting to replicate that model for, the club the size of Liverpool. In the same way, Man U fans are kind of salivating at the fact that it could be them now when all their wildest football and dreams come true. Get them back to the top tier of the football pyramid, and it'd be very hard to knock them back off once they solidify their place at the top. I think the reality of that situation and the logistics of how that was always going to come about, I didn't really ever want to speak too loudly and put my chest out too much because I just didn't think it was going to happen. And not because I didn't want necessarily Qatari owners or because I felt that it was all a smokescreen or anything like that. I just didn't think there was real legs behind the information that was coming, and I didn't think when push come to shove, ultimately FSG would look to make a deal in that way. I think the one thing that makes it really difficult for a Liverpool perspective at the moment, because you've got the likes of Tottenham that are reportedly up for sale, you've got Man U that are reportedly up for sale, and then there's obviously PSG and the already Qatari owners of there looking to try and cash in and move their resources one way or another, so they're not fixed in the PSG camp anymore. And I think when you look at that, the landscape of the European the game, putting Liverpool in that mix as well, it only kind of says to me, when is the last time that 4 giants of European football have all been up for sale at the same time? It doesn't happen. That's rare as rocking horse shit. So in terms of then getting the right bid and the right person to come in and buy them, it's very difficult because on one hand, you've got a Man U, which is as big as an institution as Liverpool, if not bigger, for various different reasons. And you can have that argument, but that's a different conversation for another day. But they're both the top upper echelons of English football.
Agreed.
However, Man U is going to have there are areas to the Man U that needs certain levels of investment. Don't get me wrong, the market and everything that they've done, their PR machine is massive, but there are still asset related investments that are needed for a Man U purchase. for example, Carrington, for example, Old Trafford, just to name a few. Then when you've got the Tottenham proposition, you've got the proposition of, well, you're going to buy real estate in London. You're going to buy something that's going to skyrocket over the next 10 years. They've got a new stadium. They've got top facilities. So when you're then trying to, and how I've always seen it, when you're trying to factor out how much can you then bid for a club like Liverpool that sits in the middle, they're not the real estate of London, and they're probably not the value and heritage that Man U currently hold, just because of how strong Man U have been in the Premier League era. They might not need as much asset-related investments, but they still need investments in their playing squad. What is the bid? And I think that's such a sticking point for any potential billionaire out there in the world to say, well, if I'm going to value Man U at 5 billion, Liverpool's going to be 3 billion or 2 billion. But if Tottenham's going to be 2 billion, then Liverpool's got to be 3.5 billion, 4 billion. So I think we're just stuck in a very difficult selling position, because it's like buying a house. If you've got 3 houses on Millionaires Row and you're looking at buying them, you're going to wait to see what the top one at the top of the hill goes for before you throw in a 5 million bid for your one that's in the middle of the road. You know what I mean? But then if you've got the other one that's got the oceanfront view, you're going to wait to see what that one goes for before you go and buy the one that's stuck there in the middle. So it is very difficult. And obviously there's always going to be the moral and political element that runs through the lifeblood of a Liverpool and a Man U as well. So it's just not an easy sell for Liverpool at this moment in time. I'm not one of those fans that's worried. A lot of fans at the moment have got a lot of chest for getting FSG out. My particular stance is those owners have waved their flag to say our model has gone as far as we can take it. Therefore, the respective owner comes in with the right bid, we will relinquish our share and our equity within the club.
And the right owner as well, Errol. They want the right owner, don't they?
Exactly.
That's the thing.
More than anything else. And they've had that agreement with the board. They've had it with the Spirit of Shankly. They've had it with Redbeard. It's got to be that right owner. So if that's the perspective and the angle that they're coming at, I'm like, well, they're going. I don't need to put my energy in trying to get them out, because they're already going to walk out the door. Whether they walk out in 6 months or they walk out in a year, that transition period is going to happen. We need to focus on where we move next. So it is a whirlwind. There's so much to unpack with anything like this. I'm not a financial football accounting expert, so I just give it to you from a raw fan's perspective. I would love somebody with deep fucking pockets that will invest a shit ton of money in our playing squad, that wants to keep Jurgen Klopp here. And if they exist and they don't have any dark clouds hanging over them or skeletons in their closets, they could be the right man. All right,
so you want a multi-billionaire without skeletons in the closet? Let me just make that clear.
If they exist.
Spoiler alert, they don't.
But that's the predicament that we're all in. So I don't like to get into that whole moral this one and that one.
To be fair, some don't have skeletons in their closet. Their skeletons are fully on show for the world to see.
They have actual dead people in the closet who haven't turned into skeletons yet.
Yeah, if you got the skeletons, make sure they're hidden. None of these, like you got Abramovich and the Saudi owners, like everyone knows our shit. Keep that hidden. You know.
Do you not think the worry is though? Do you not think the worry is though with these owners coming in that horrible 2-word, 3 words will come back, European Super League? Do you not think that's something
it's coming back anyway?
That's what I mean. I think it's coming back in one iteration or another, Dan. It's gonna have a very different look to it, or it's going to be marketed and branded slightly different, but the essence will be the European Super League. There's no two ways about it.
I've just seen a 4-part show on Apple TV. There's a documentary about the Super League that's recently gone up. I don't know if any of you have watched it yet, but it's fascinating. It gives the whole background, the controversy, the difficulties between UEFA and the planners of the Super League, and by no means is it going away. It's in a dormant stage, getting ready to come back again, because they've got
in the nicest way possible. I hope you all fuck off to the Super League and leave the Premier League to the rest of us. Do you know what I mean? That's I kind
of wonder about that.
But then, Lawless, there's no more race for Europe.
Why? Well, because we'll still have our Europe. We'll still have.
Yeah, but you'll lose the money rights. The money rights will go straight away. Or, in fact, all money that goes to the Premier League will go, mate. It will be gone.
The Champions League will basically be like the Conference League is now.
Yeah. Oh, well, Lawless will be chuffed. Lawless is all about that.
Well, listen, Errol will be all about that next season when he finishes.
Hey, fuck off. I've told you for a minute, yeah. I don't want that shit. I don't want to be competing for no Thursday, Sunday league, fucking conference league footy. Done with it. No chance,
I can't wait. I cannot wait. Let me read this super chat. As it's appropriate. Alhambra with 199 super chat. Can I ask why Lawless is on a Race for Europe show?
I asked Sam the same question, but now.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. Well, one, I'm hosting the show, and two,
Lawless, do the close.
Two, West Ham are currently in Europe. All right. And
right
while
now?
we're in Europe, we're in a race for Europe. If we win the Conference League, we finish and we play in the Europa League. And let me tell you something. What did I say to you all a good few weeks ago? Maybe last
Spurs
year.
will be the first ones out. You said Spurs will be the first ones out.
I did, and they've already got 1 foot out the door. They've already got 1 foot out the door. They lost the other day. Chelsea also lost the other day. So they've both got 1 foot out the door. Now, obviously, Dan drew to Barcelona. They're in a good situation, Man United, because they're going home, but it's all up in the air. Liverpool, when do you play?
Tuesday, I think. I think we're playing
Tuesday. Who you got?
Real Madrid.
Yeah. Right, you're out. You're out. Let's just say it.
Hey.
Errol, can I ask a question, mate? Is it at Madrid?
No, first legs at Anfield.
So second legs at Madrid. So Klopp will be looking at houses, I should imagine, when he goes over. He'll be looking whereabouts. I'm telling you, mate, he's going.
Ancelotti's going. No.
I've called it for the last 6 weeks. Klopp at Madrid. I'm telling you, it's coming.
He doesn't want that pressure. He wouldn't want that pressure. That's not a life lifestyle. That's a heart attack waiting to happen. He's not that guy.
I can see it. I can't wait to hear him do his Spanish talk. I can't wait. ¿Cómo estás?
Will it be worse than when Joey Barton took the Marseille job and did a press conference with the franchise?
David Moyes as well. David Moyes with Sociedad.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
I went from hating Joey Barton to loving him in one split second. You just don't do that unless you want to be an absolute legend.
Steve McLaren.
Oh, he's Dutch. Yeah.
Accent. But yeah, so my prediction is we're probably going to go the furthest in Europe because when I look at it, like Arsenal.
And by that, do you mean like you're going all the way to the other side of Europe, or do you mean like you're?
No, we're going all the way in Europe. I will be on this show, and people go, "Why is Lawless in the Race for Europe show?" I'll be like, "We're the only team still in Europe because Arsenal are going to prioritize the league. Liverpool beating Real Madrid. This Liverpool." And you haven't got a great track record against Real Madrid.
Why not this season? Because Madrid haven't been firing. Madrid
4-0 last night, though, didn't he? Was it
against
Elbar or something else?
Yeah, but this competition, they're the kings of this competition.
Lawless, I've got to apologise to you. The comment that's just come on there now, Aguerd, mate, he is unreal, isn't he, that boy?
Well,
he is unreal. I've got to give you your flowers, mate. I've watched West Ham a couple of times the last few weeks. I love him. Stunning player.
I've been saying it for day one. Alhambra here, 449 super chat. Thank you, Alhambra. As a Moroccan, if you make Naif Aguerd play championship football, I'll drive down to London Stadium myself and free him. He's too good. He's too good. Mate.
How much do you pay for him?
I think about around 25 million.
Stunning, mate. He's stunning.
Worth every penny. Honestly, I just.
Do you not think that West Ham are looking like West Ham last season a bit now?
No, I think that's
harder to. No, I mean harder to break down. What's that?
Condolences. So man, don't give a 499. Condolences to the Chelsea fan. He went home in a wheelchair Saturday. At least he knows how to knows not to pick a fight with a West Ham fan again. What an idiot!
That West Ham fan looked like Harry Potter or something. Like the guy does not look like he could kick someone's ass. And my God, that guy went down.
That's what makes it funnier.
I have no condolences whatsoever to that guy. He deserved more than that.
That's how super hard West Ham fans are, even like the nerdy Ben Mitchell looking ones.
So where did it go wrong with you?
You used to support Newcastle, that's what it was.
Yeah, he's a Newcastle boy. I can't do it.
We punch horses up in Newcastle, don't we? That's the Newcastle fans punch horses. But yeah, honestly, yeah, that West Ham. We'll get a bit into West Ham, but yeah, Aguerd, absolutely love him. He is top class, and I said this on another show. I said he's going to go on to be considered one of the best centre backs in the league, like one of the best. Everyone twists my words and think one of. I'm not going to put him in the World Cup, but he's going to be up there. Pace, which we've missed at the back. Honestly, can't speak highly enough out of him.
Does he keep you up this season then?
Yeah, if he stays fit, because he did get injured in that Chelsea game, but he might be back for Spurs.
There's worse teams now, isn't there? We're starting to see the teams that are really, really struggling now. Really, Bournemouth are really struggling, aren't they now? Really struggling.
Southampton still struggling. Still got the.
I don't know how they struggled with Nathan Jones. He was the best coach in Europe last season. You reckon, didn't he? What a mug! What an absolute mug!
Honestly, but you know, we'll get into West Ham a bit more later. I feel like I've put this off long enough. This has been the biggest thing I've been looking forward to about this show. Right,
can we keep it going about another 10 minutes? Because I'm not ready for this yet. If it's going where I think it is,
I've been trying to put off because I thought, if Judges comes, then we've got 2 Arsenal fans to grill. But I've been too excited to talk about. I watched the game. It was a great game of football. Not so much. I don't think both teams were at their peak at the bit. I saw some poor passing and things like that, but it was just drama. It was exciting, and Arsenal fans were super confident going into it. Mike, I won't speak for you. Tell us, how was you feeling going into the game? And I'm not sure where you lie on the spectrum of Arsenal fans, if you're super positive or you're balanced or what, but what was you feeling? I think we're all on the
spectrum, to be fair, but I tend to be I give it with Potts and Judges all the time. I mean, Dan and I have a constant back and forth about how he acts about Arsenal and when he's on camera and when he's not on camera, but I tend to be pretty favorable. I've been trusting this process for a while, since I started to see some of the changes he was making that were maybe taking a little bit longer than people would have liked to show up in the results columns. But I think what he's done over the past year and a half is nothing short of changing the club's direction for the next 10 years. So I am a supporter of what they've done. I don't support individuals just because of who they are, but I like what they've done, and I like the results that it's caused.
Did you like the result last night?
I did not love the result last night. I did not love the coaching and the decisions made in the second half of that game.
Did you think he was going to win, though, Mike? Just going into it, just thoughts going into it.
I was not confident. Just based on the wobble that we've had over the last 3 or 4 games, we started to see some signs of crisis of confidence with some of the players, like Martinelli, like Ben White. You've seen a couple of things that are starting not to make sense with regards to some of the substitution patterns. It's just every championship team, every team that's going to win or compete for the title, which I think is where we are at this point, is going to have these little wobbles and things during the season. It's how you react to it and how you keep the team together, or whether you start splintering off and having players who are, getting frustrated with their teammates or with their playing time or with their lack of playing time, and that's where you really need a strong, mature club. And we have an immature club who's been punching above our weight all season, impressively, legitimately, deserving to win the games that we've won, most of them, not deserving to drop points in some of the games that we have. But the teams, there's just a malaise going on right now, and we could all feel it before the City game. That said, I would back Arteta and this team to show up on the day against just about anybody. And so there was that hope that we would be, the answer is yes, that hope that we would be competing against Man City. And I thought that we had every possibility of beating them yesterday, but I didn't feel good about it. After the first half, I felt great about it. I mean, I thought we really took it to them in the first half. I thought we were the better team. I thought we were obviously one stupid individual mistake away from dominating in every category, including in the score. And then a team talk that should have written itself at halftime, and a attitude and a play for the second half that should have been pretty easy to come up with, just absolutely fell apart. He was outcoached, we were outplayed, and it ended the way it ended, which was it's just a sucker punch. And now now I'm worried about Saturday against away against Villa, against Unai Emery, who certainly knows how to strategize against us.
Huge, yeah. I mean, I think what I saw was a big key, because I looked at the starting lineup and the formation that Man City put out, and it was a bit of a head scratcher. And Pep came out at the end and said that's what he got the tactics completely wrong at the start, and he remedied it at half time. Got the team pressing higher up the pitch, putting pressure on the team, and Arsenal,
he made adjustments. Mikel did not until it was too late. And
it's not the difference between a manager who's been there and done it all and a manager who's still finding his way. You saw it against when we beat you 3-1 at Old Trafford. Wasn't it? The changes he made at that point, you guys were on the front foot, and I thought it's not if, it's when they score here.
Yeah, I was at that game and felt like we outplayed you for that game, but we were naive. But we were naive. Obviously, the VAR thing. I mean, there's no sense in relitigating that, but because the game was what it was. But the fans were brilliant in that game. I sat right next to Potts and was watching to him to see if he was singing the Mikel Arteta song. He wasn't.
Anything aside, that's an awful song. We sang it about David Moyes. I've never sung that shit. It's awful. It's an awful song.
It's a bit cringy, but anything that you can all get behind together. And I just looked over to him to see if he was holding up his brand, and he was. So kudos to him. But the damn Potts brand. But I mean, we were naive in that game. The goals that we conceded probably shouldn't have been set up the way that we were set up, and he was outcoached. Yeah. That's going to happen. Mikel Arteta is a novice, and most people just didn't want a novice to begin with, even if the guy is showing signs of being the next great whatever it is in European football. But Errol,
Mike, so this is my question to you then. So when we eventually got the monkey off our back in terms of getting that first Premier League trophy in X amount of years, I can't remember how many it'd been.
It was 30.
Not enough's the answer. Not enough.
But when we did, I was always of the opinion that until we do it and walk it, in the sense I've seen Chelsea do it in the past, I've seen Man City do it in the past, and I've seen eventually a Leicester team do it. Until we do it in that vein, we won't know what it's like to be able to do it when you're going to have to go toe-to-toe with somebody. It's almost like you've got to do that pre-game workout before you do the big workout type of deal.
Well, you see in every sport. You see in every sport. Even like tennis, you've got these, Nadal and Federer, and there's a constant domination, and then all of a sudden, once the guy gets over the hump and learns what it's like to beat him, same thing happens in the NBA, same thing happens in a lot of different sports where you just have these rivalries that are really one-sided. But you can tell that eventually the Chicago Bulls are going to overcome the Detroit Pistons, and then they're going to be the dominant team because they know what to do
and know how to win. Do you think this is that? Do you think this is going to turn into a learning season, or do you think Arteta's got enough minerals to learn, spin it, and do it this season now where you're at? Because you've still got an amazing opportunity. Let's not make no bones about it.
I mean, we haven't lost the league, but we've but it certainly can feel like that. And I do. If I had to
lead you had, Mike. I mean, that you gave that up. You've lost a 10-point lead, and Errol will know about that. What lead did you have on Man City when they came back and won that?
12 or something, nearly
12. Yeah.
Well, and that has enough. I mean, that has as much to do with the teams that are catching us. I mean, you're going to have a wobble. Man City's had a wobble. The problem is the one thing that they didn't have, which was kind of the energy, the solidarity, because being at the top year in year out can also be difficult in the sense that it's hard to keep that focus up.
And they've been pushed by up until this season. They've been pushed by a very good Liverpool team as well. So to go again with someone that's got a new fresh energy, they could have easily down tools.
Well, I don't feel sorry for them for being that malaise. But what I'm pointing out though is that they have just been gifted, and it may not be a long-term gift, but a short-term gift of a rallying cry to bring them together as a club, to get their horrifically apathetic fan base to actually get up off their ass and make some noise.
Giving them it's us against the world type mentality.
Exactly, which is laughable. It's laughable when you think about who we're talking about having an us against the world mentality. But as long as they believe it, and as long Man City may not drop more than 2 or 3 more points this entire season, and that's why I do think that we have kind of, I don't know, I'm not going to say we've blown it. But I do think that we're probably coming second, and I wouldn't feel great about third. Sorry, Dan. It just would be a little harsh on the seasons that we've had.
We've got to touch on the game, right? Because I need to get your perspective on 2 of Potts' boys that he gets his pom-poms out on a regular basis for. Saliba and Tomiyasu for that first goal. Wow.
Tomiyasu had a mare. It's been said that he was actually doing exactly what Arteta had told him to do, and that neither one of them saw De Bruyne. It was De Bruyne, I think, that got him. I mean, individual errors happen. Some of them are more costly than others. De Bruyne still had a lot of work to do to finish that. It was a brilliant finish from where he was,
hell of a goal.
But
Ramsdale was flying out off his line. I mean, there's so many components that's wrong with that.
So many shit England goalkeepers. Sorry.
Yeah, I love that, Errol. Fuck Ramsdale.
Why? 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 Really?
I hate him. I can't stand him. Yeah, I really do.
Why?
I really don't like him.
I love him.
Because you can't take banter. Is that why you don't like him?
Are we past 9 o'clock now? Yeah, I fucking love him. I absolutely.
He nearly fucking broke Bowen's leg.
Broke a Tottenham fan's foot with his back. Is that what he nearly broke? I mean, the guy is
better than Pickford. He's better than Pickford.
Do you know where the key battle was lost yesterday for me? Arteta and De Bruyne. Fuck it. I honestly, when
what a mug Arteta
did
is.
You see De Bruyne in him? I swear.
Because what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? He's taking a throw in, and you're there being a petulant school child. Like, oh, let me keep the ball away from you.
That can work in your team's favor, or it can turn a game. I mean, Arteta got in a pushing and shoving match with Klopp during a League Cup game, I think.
Fucked them over.
And it was. It turned the game. It literally turned the game.
A lot of people saying De Bruyne put Arteta in his place.
I mean, it's not often that you see a player push a manager who's in their own technical area for once, by the way, and actually say, you know what, that was probably deserved. Arteta was, he
bottled it, didn't he?
Imagine if that was Roy Hodgson. Assaulting him and that.
Hey, you wouldn't do it to Dyche, would you?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean that there were a lot of individual flashpoints in the game yesterday that where you just felt all of a sudden.
Was it a penalty? That was very controversial.
Was ours a penalty? The one that we got, or the one that was overturned because of the?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I think it was. I mean, he barged into the guy. If that's anywhere else on the pitch, it's a foul.
Edison was a lucky boy last night, I thought. The time wasting was just embarrassing.
I mean, I was surprised. I think that would have been a yellow card if he didn't already have one. So again, that's the interpretation of we don't really want to toss the guy out of the game for this, but in a vacuum, that would have been a foul and a yellow card anywhere else. I mean,
Errol, what do you think? Yellow or not? I mean, penalty or not penalty?
To be honest, I've not seen it back. I was in training last night, so I've literally just caught all the social media shit from the Arsenal game. To be completely honest with you, I wish I would have probably watched a few highlights before I jumped on the stream, but I've just been busy, so I'm just taking all of this in, and I just know the ripples that it's going to have are probably going to be bigger than the 90 minutes in itself. So it's just quite interesting.
I think goalkeepers have different rights is not the right word, but they're
protected. They're protected too much.
Because they behave differently. They have a different job role than outfield players. Their job is to try and catch the ball with their hands. They run and jump to the ball. They're not playing ball to their feet, right? That's their job. So what he's done
has to explain that to the Yank.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what? Okay.
But he's going to try and stop the touchdown.
I wonder what those gloves were all about. Fuck.
Well, listen, over in the MLS, they used to do penalties completely different.
Oh my God!
Love them.
Oh, bro! Before 95.
I'm a traditionalist, but they got to bring that back for like a limited period of time, just for the banter.
Imagine that at the World Cup.
You should have that for pre-seasons. Every pre-season game should finish with one of them shootouts.
They should, or just a like an overhead kick competition or something like that. You know, the skills competition like we have in every All-Star game over here. It's
you've always got to jazz it up.
Now the game's fine the way it is, but yeah, I mean when a goalkeeper is extending their body and sacrificing themselves to get a hand on a corner kick that and that they're trying to punch out of the way, I get the protection, but when they're not acting in that capacity, why would they get any more protection than any other player?
But what I saw was he not just when I looked at it back, because it was Nketiah, wasn't it? He went into.
Yeah.
He's running and he's looking at the ball. He's trying to close him down, right? He's trying to close him down quickly, not giving space. What Nketiah does is, as he's coming towards him, he kicks the ball just beyond. He pokes the ball beyond Edison. After that, obviously
it's cleared off the line, but.
Then they make contact. There's contact there afterwards. I just think it's not the most horrendous decision. And I probably said that, but Pete's in the house. You come at the right time. We're just celebrating Arsenal. The wheels falling off potentially.
Lawless, you're celebrating it.
Well,
Yeah, I'm not really celebrating it.
What's Tommy Asu doing there?
Oh, you've seen the
breaking news then, Errol, for fuck's sake.
No, I'm just slow.
I'm just late
to the party. That's a nice finish, that though. That is
if
nice
he puts it out for a throw-in, there's no problem there. There's no goal scored. All he needs to do is just tap it out. He's trying to be too clever for his own good.
Can we, before we move on to too many other subjects, can we just talk about Bernardo Silva just kicking the ever-loving shit out of Saka all game?
He gets away with it all the time, Bernardo Silva. All the time.
But I mean, I don't know what the exact number is, but Bukayo Saka's like the number of times he has been fouled, and these are fouls that are called, not the ones that aren't being called, is something like way ahead of any other Premier League player. And
he's not like a Grealish who he gets fouled, but did he really? And it's a
Mike,
dive.
Run, Mike, swim! You've got something coming for you, mate. Mike, swim! It's coming.
It's Bukayo Saka's unicorn. If I went and kicked that unicorn as often as Bukayo Saka was getting kicked, I'd be sent to prison. I mean, it is just absolutely, and it's frustrating because I don't want to sound like.
What are you inside for? I kicked an inflatable unicorn.
I'm doing 3 hard years for that.
You go to jail for a lot less in America.
That
they carry on. Well, I've just looked at that.
If you've ever heard the expression "Florida man," I think they named that after me. But
no, I don't like Edison anyway. He's too rash for me. I think that is a pen. I just looked at it then. I think it is a pen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get the fact. I mean, they clatter into each other because Ederson basically just went over out of control. I mean, he wasn't following through on his attempt to save it. He was
looking at Nketiah as well. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah,
I love him. I love how Dan says
he got away with that last season. No, he got away with that.
I can't say his name.
He got away with that challenge last season. If I'm not mistaken, didn't he get away with that challenge last season? Was it against Arsenal as well? Where he's half pulled out of one, and he's just screaming for a pen, and VAR just went nah. But it was
he does try and pull out of it again. He does try and stop himself.
He can't. It looks as if he just, instead of pulling out, he looks as if he just plants himself. And to me, that's not really pulling out. If you're pulling out, you're kind of like leaning back a little bit. He kind of just says, "You're going to hit me, I'm going to hit you, and I'm going to follow through." And for me,
your game's a lot different to mine, Errol. Put it that way, mate.
It's momentum, though, isn't it?
Yeah, we're going to find out how much he pulled out 9 months from now. But
exactly, oh, jeez.
I'm known for taking double entendres and just turning them into.
I'm happy to be there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
What am I coming into, guys? What is going on right now?
It was
yes,
it was. I mean, I love. I mean, there's no better redemption story than Bukayo Saka taking penalties over the last year and a half, ever since the Euro final. I mean, there was a little bit of discussion. Would Jorginho take it with that stupid ass hopping move? I haven't warmed up to him yet. or would Saka continue to take penalties? And I'm
he
glad
was strong as well, Mike, wasn't he? Because the shithousery around before he was taking it, they were doing their best, weren't they, to put him off? And it was such a calm and
and Odegaard actually tried to shield him from that. Odegaard held the ball so long that I thought he was going to take the penalty, and was a little worried about that.
Was he? He looked so stupid though. He's sitting there pointing, go and shoot that side.
Oh,
and then and then dives.
There's about a 90% chance that if a keeper is telling you where to shoot it, you should listen to him, because he's doing that to, they haven't figured out the whole double, the double sidetrack. I'm going to say this, but then I'm going to make you think I'm going to do it. He was so clearly going to dive the opposite direction from where he was pointing that I think, and Saka put it to where he wouldn't have been able to save it even if he did put it the right way, guess the right way. So, I mean, great penalty. And, from there, we thought the game was definitely ours for the taking. And it, about 5 minutes after halftime, it felt quite different.
Yeah, was it Zinchenko who fucked up for the second goal? Was it he would have played the short part? There
are some that say it was Zinchenko, some say it was Gabriel.
I think it was a combination of the two.
It was, but I mean, again, we're giving them goals. You can't give Manchester City goals. I'm sorry, the thing's just floating behind me now.
Hold on. Sorry, Mike. Are you in the swimming pool right now?
I'm not going to say that I'm not in the swimming pool. No.
Can we just cut him off? Like we're like freezing cold.
I got makeup behind me.
He's in the swimming pool. Come on, someone cut this off.
It's a freezing cold 23, 24 degrees down here right now.
Get rid of him.
Freezing.
Mike, for me, do you know what? The last 20 minutes of watching last night reminded me of when United played you guys at the Emirates a few weeks ago. And I just felt we were hanging on. We were doing our level best to just try and hang on.
Oh, what a game that was. I loved that one. Yeah, that was the last game I was at the last time I was over. And I don't think we've won a game since then. So you might have taken enough out of us in the loss to make it worthwhile. But
it's just, I mean, I just think some of your players, like brain-wise, defensively, and these are players that a lot of people heralded as, and rightly so, but absolute madness.
If you put it in perspective, and I always say on our pod, you can look at things on a 1-game basis, you could look at them on a 1-month basis, a season basis, or like a 4-season basis, and depending on, most people just choose whichever one allows them to be the most annoyed and angry, but we are ahead of where we probably should be right now. And so to come back down to earth is frustrating. But I think it makes sense in the context. I'm not rationalizing. I'm disappointed. I was heartbroken yesterday. But I'm just saying it's not surprising, because I think we have been punching a bit above our weight. And when you do that long enough, you either pull off a miracle like Leicester did, or
you have to strike out the iron's hot though, because
I agree. I'm not.
You've got Newcastle coming up. You've got a Qatari takeover of Man U. You're going to have a rebuild of Liverpool. City are going to go again. Do Arsenal get to stay the Premier League title this close up again in the next 4 years? Now you're saying it could be a 4-year cycle. Like,
this is their best chance.
Oh, I don't buy that at all. I don't buy it's the best. It's our best chance because we're positioned in that position right now. But
you don't think the rest of the competition's good? You think Liverpool can have another season as bad as we've had this season on top of Man U not starting the way
Chelsea?
They say that about Chelsea every year. Whenever there's a top team, a top 6 team that ends up outside of Europe, the same narrative is always there. They're going to get better. They're going to get better. How come we keep having these things happen though, where you have a Liverpool underperforming and staring the Conference League at in the eye, or a Chelsea with their players who are 9th or 10th in the league. I mean, it happens all the time because these things are cyclical. It's not just a constant strengthening from everybody else. So no, I don't think this is it's our best chance because of the fact that we're actually, if we can win that game in hand, we do still control our destiny. Things are not headed in the right direction. And again, I don't think Man City is going to lose a tremendous amount of points at all for the rest of the season because they've got themselves sorted now. So
I feel like there's an assumption, though, Mike.
But we're building something sustainable, and
I feel like this assumption is that you're going, like you said, you're heading the right. So you're going to keep getting better and better.
I can't do that though. I can't do that though, Lawless, because from what I've heard from Arsenal fans, and this is where I will be critical of you. From not you, Mike, because again, it's the first conversation that me and you are having, but I'm talking generally speaking.
Errol's thinking end of season do over in Florida. That's why he's not going.
Sign me up.
He's on it.
I've been buttering him the last hour, mate. So I completely agree. Don't worry.
In July it's too hot. You don't want to do that.
We need to do this show in that pool in the summer.
We'll do it. We'll do a summer race for Europe.
Yeah, we'll each have our own out of it. Like, you know, and the camera will just pan over to each inflatable animal.
But what I'm saying is, because I don't disagree with the fact that you are actually headed in a much more sustainable, or you're sustaining where he's heading, and he's heading in a much better shape and place. But your objectives aren't to be firmly within top 4. It has to be, we need to start challenging for the title. So do you have your ambition this season to be like, all right, well, we're ahead of where we was, and then next season we temper our ambitions and say, well, let's just stay within that top 4 and be
no. My understanding of what this hated process actually is, and I have a better than just assumed understanding of this, is that, and again, don't get me wrong, I'm not stating what I'm okay with. I'm stating what the plan was. The base plan and expectations of the club were to make top 6 last season. Remember, we were 8th twice in a row, and we were getting rid of horrendous contracts, bleeding financially. COVID didn't help. So, I mean, we're coming out of a deep, deep, deep hole that was begun to be dug in the last few years of Arsene Wenger. That's how long the stench happened. So where we're coming from and where we're going to, my understanding was, last season was top 6. This season was top 4. Next season, compete for the title. Those were the club's expectations of Mikel Arteta and what they were willing to support. That kind of explains why last season in January, when we were in 4th, possibly even in 3rd, we didn't do what most people thought we should do and strengthen our club and add players to make that top 4 push. And we blew it the last 2-3 weeks of the season. We absolutely blew it. This season, I think the point was to solidly make sure that we get back in the Champions League so that could positively impact our transfers, our goals, and who we bring onto the club and strengthen it. And I think that because of the man management, because of some of the players really kind of coming through that have been incredible, I think we're ahead of what they expected us to do. That being said, when you're first in the league and you, to that point, had lost one game that you shouldn't even have lost, sorry, Dan, but when you're in that position, you're never going to have a better chance to win the league than when you're in that position. But I don't buy into the narrative that everyone else is going to improve to the point where next season our best case scenario is 2nd or 3rd, and we just could have to stay there. I absolutely think we'll be better next season than we are this season. Whether that's enough to win the league next season, there's a lot of factors that go into that. But
again, and the thing is, recruitment is no guarantee, and this goes for all of us. You get to that transfer window, you splash money. Obviously, there's certain players that you're going to have to look to replace. Partey, one of them. He's getting on, injury prone, whatever, right? So and for us, obviously, we potentially have to replace Rice or whatever.
Well, I think you've just married two things together because one.
Whoa! Look at me! Don't listen. I'm still maintaining it's not happening. Potts was literally messaging me the other day. He's in the Maldives and he's going, "What? Why can't Rice come to Arsenal? Why? What other clubs better?" I said, "Well, Man United, bigger club, Qatari owners." Chelsea.
I've been saying no. I've been saying no chance we're getting Rice, but the more and more this Qatari ownership keeps coming close, who knows?
It's possible, man.
Who knows?
Chelsea getting Neymar.
Put it this way, Rice has got the pick of where the hell he wants to go. I think in the summer he's got the pick of where he wants to go.
Well, and here's the thing: what Arsenal were not over the past 10 years was a destination that players absolutely, or ambitious top players, would want to come to, because we weren't going to pay the money that they could get at Manchester United or Chelsea. And now there's a few more to add to that list from a wage perspective. And they weren't going to win anything. And they were just playing for a nice traditional club that is in London, which was our truest big selling point, was that, we're in London and we're hardly the only team in London. So now I do believe that both the players that we have and the coach, I mean, a lot of our transfers, Odegaard among them, have said that they came here to play for Mikel Arteta. So whether you like Mikel Arteta or not as a coach, he does appear to be a draw for players, and I don't know why Declan Rice wouldn't want to come here unless he's all about money. You can get paid more elsewhere.
A lot of the players, they say a lot of things when they sign for clubs. The manager.
You got to take it with a.
Yeah, you take it with a pinch of salt.
It's the light bulb chat. But I do look forward to the light bulb chat that Arteta pulls out of his locker. Do you see that on the Amazon documentary? His light bulb.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, people love light bulbs, so why would you not want to come to Arsenal? Declan Rice actually uses light bulbs in his day-to-day life.
I mean, very handy. Mine changes color.
Mine turns off about 7:30 this evening, but
mine turns off in 10 minutes because of rising energy prices. I don't want to pay too much.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's get your new owners to chip in. But I want to check, and
build a pipeline.
I like to ask this every now and then. So before we move on to the next team, I'm going to ask each of you: put your neck on the line. Have a guess. If you was to guess, are Arsenal winning the league? I've got to start with Magic Mike. Are Arsenal going to win the league? What do you think?
No.
Okay. No magic there for Arsenal.
I think it's going to be close, but it's more a statement of the form and the attitude that City are going to have right now.
Was there a point where you believed that you would win the league?
Yes, yes, and I'm embarrassingly, drunkenly on video claiming that. Shortly after,
it'd be a different game.
I'm on a certain channel directly after the Manchester United victory, claiming that the league was done and dusted.
I'm gonna go seek that
out.
If you want to see what a drunk Yank, drunk with happiness and red wine looks like, go watch that video.
Mike, if you'd have beat Everton, and I think if that decision against Brentford goes your way, you are a completely different animal last night in that game. Completely different animal. I think.
You can't lick your wounds. You know what?
I agree.
Well, and
there's a lot of ifs. If they would have lost this game or that game,
that's where we're. Yeah, I mean, those are going to happen. And it's how you respond to those things that makes the most sense, or that has the most impact on where you can finish. And that is where we're going to find out what the mentality of this team is, because we've been on a great run so far, and the team looks like they're less likely than in years past, when we had Mustafi holding his hands up, looking around, Xhaka not necessarily playing the way he has, and everyone just kind of looking around for what's going to save us. And instead, I think we now have a team that believes in themselves, believes in the manager, and vice versa. But even that can get pressed sometimes, and we've had to deal with a lot, self-inflicted and otherwise. And I think we're starting to crack a little bit in that category. So it's on Mikel now to turn that around and push us through the final, 15 games of the Premier League season, 14, 15 games, and get this thing done. And if we end up just not being able to catch City, you go again next season.
So Mike says no. I can confirm. I spoke to Potts earlier. He said we were never winning the league. I need to go back and check actually and see if he actually has been caught in 4K there. Errol, are Arsenal winning the league?
I don't think so, to be honest with you. I'm not confident that they'll win it. And it's not because the only reason I don't want any other season I'd want Arsenal to win it. The reason I've not wanted to be behind them this season in particular is because I know there is a section of Arsenal fans that will try and put Jurgen Klopp and Arsenal in the same sentence when it comes to Premier League titles. And I know you seem very level-headed, Mike, so I'm not putting you in that.
I thought you were about to say that we were going to.
Again,
I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say that we were going to try to have Jurgen Klopp come to Arsenal, and I'm like, why would no? Now I know what you're saying.
Errol, they haven't just been saying that Arteta will have the same amount of Premier Leagues as Jurgen Klopp. They've been saying they have the same amount of Premier Leagues as Liverpool.
But they'll have more anyway. They've got more anyway, Joe.
No, Arteta, I mean. Arteta.
Arteta, yeah.
Arteta has the same. We'll have the same Premier League.
Fucking now. But I just outside of that, I would have always rooted for Arsenal in that respect. But this season, you're coming up against and learning at what it's like to be in a title race with City. And even when you think you're playing out of your skin and putting in records that you've not done before, City will always find a way. And that's why they are overinflated by cash, fraud, cheats, allegedly in the position that they're in, because they're able to do that. And
disgraceful. Man. We haven't got a Man City fan on here to defend themselves. So,
and it's probably a good thing, because if he tried, I would have a couple of receipts for him.
And Pete, are they winning the league? Yes or no?
Well, I was asked this question by Potts a few weeks ago, and I thought they'd have enough.
Yes.
Yeah, I did. I said yes. I didn't believe they would go on this run that they're on right now. It's genuinely surprised me with the Everton loss. The way they obviously the manner in which they lost to Man City surprised me. I thought they would give more in the second half, and they didn't. I'm gonna say City's. They're experienced. They know it. I said to some of my boys, the Newcastle fans, that were like, Man City are a problem, and they are. They're a big problem, and they have experience in winning titles. You know what astounds me about Man City is that regardless of all the other stuff that's going on with the courts and the Premier League and all that other stuff, they've won back-to-back titles, but it looks like they're still hungry for more. And that's what you can say years ago about Man City. They would win a league, then drop it one season, then win it back because their level of hunger wasn't the same.
I would have said 2 weeks ago that their level of hunger had fallen off, but then when the day that those charges got announced,
rock the boat.
It's almost
the way they played against Spurs.
Put it on yourselves, because you all went and you complained about Man City. Arteta snitched, and he woke the beast. He woke the beast. He snitched.
Yeah, it won't matter because he'll be in the Championship next year.
I still think, regardless of what's happened with the Premier League, that Man City would have still done this now. It feels like almost like it's been constructed by Guardiola. So there's been question marks about Grealish, about De Bruyne. Why they've been on the bench? Why they're not playing? It's almost like he's handpicking who he plays in matches to keep them fresh, in order to be ready for the second half of the season. I'm looking at De Bruyne. De Bruyne's been on the bench for a number of games. I'm thinking, why the hell are you playing him? Or are you putting him on the bench and giving him 20 minutes, 30 minutes?
It's a nice luxury to be able to do that, isn't it?
This is what I mean. It's almost like, in this crazy busy period of the season, it's almost like he's been handpicking and protecting certain players so that they don't get injured or they're not overly playing too much football, to the point where now it's coming into the business end of the season. He's going, right, my top boys, here you go. And it's almost like he's just allowed someone like Kevin De Bruyne to go, you know what, go and do your stuff. And he's just gone for it.
And if they're if they lose that hunger or desire, he just needs to point to Haaland and say, this man deserves to win the Premier League, because he has been unbelievable. And if he don't win,
he hasn't won one. So on his own, he is desperate to win one. But equally, what astounds me is that, and you could say it for Man United, back in 2007, 8, and 9, when I think they went 3 years winning the title.
A couple of times, mate.
But this is what I mean. This is what I mean. It takes a certain character, it takes a certain squad of players and a team to be able to still maintain their hunger to win the big one, regardless of what's going on around them. Of course, they want to win the Champions League, but the fact that they're still in and around things when they were 8, 9, 10 points behind Arsenal, they're now sitting top of the league. That for me, I think, and the reason why I say Man City is because that is good. It has to have an effect on Arsenal. On being so far clear.
Let's just have it right, Pete. You flip-flopped. Let's just put it out there. Yeah. You flip-flop.
You said that, not me.
You've been twerking for Arsenal for a while now. A couple of results, and what happens? You turn on them. You turn on your boys. No.
They're not my boys.
You've been twerking for them for a good
I've been twerking for them. I've said they could genuinely win the league, and I believe that 2 or 3 weeks ago. I still think they've got a chance. Just because I'm saying I think Man City's experience will win the league doesn't
Arsenal
mean
fans
I'm saying that they can't
the
win the league. I'm not saying that they can't, but I'm saying Man City's experience has them at this point in the season ahead of it. Because once they get ahead, you know what Man City like. We all know what Man City like. Once they get ahead of a team, Errol, with regards to Liverpool, that they don't let it up. And the problem is that Arsenal, and Mike, you'll probably agree with this. The problem is that Arsenal have allowed Man City back into the game.
I agree with everything that you've said so far. I have the exact same opinion as you do in this regard. And it's less about us losing it, and more about us just not being able to prevent Man City from winning it. Yesterday was an opportunity to do that, and we blew it. So
it was in your hands, and technically it still is because you got the game. Game in hand.
Yeah, if we don't drop any more points before the end of the season, we're champions. But I have my own worries about whether we drop points the day after tomorrow.
Dan, quickly give me your prediction because I have to talk. And listen, if we don't talk about Liverpool, Errol's going to explode because he's been suffering for a long time, and now you look at him, he's happy. So just give me Arsenal, Man City.
I think Man City, but the reason I think Man City is I've just looked at the fixtures. Man City, every team they've got left in the top 6. I mean, if you include Liverpool, top 12, then you've. Sorry, Errol. Sorry, mate. They play them all at home. They haven't got the away fixtures. At Chelsea, at Liverpool, they've got majority of them at home. So I think, look, of course, Arsenal could still. Everything what Pete said, Arsenal can still win it. Of course they can. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, City have been there, done it. But again, we've seen City drop points at home against Brentford. We've seen City drop points. This Premier League season, I said it at the start of the season, was going to be crazy, and there are still some twists and turns in this season yet. I'm telling you.
Liverpool getting top 4.
Fucking hell. Whose expense? Whose expense?
Newcastle's. It could be Newcastle's. We all just have to wait.
Pete's worried. No, but Pete's been laying the tracks. He's been laying the tracks. I'm putting this way all fucking season. We're just happy if we get you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So he's still so good at doing that while splashing the fucking cash out.
No,
1 in 5.
I just said to Errol, I said, you're not the only Liverpool fan that said that to me tonight. Liverpool have got a renewed confidence right now. They think after that result on Monday that they think they can get Champions League football.
Come on.
Why wouldn't you have? Yeah, I mean, you've got to have renewed hope after beating Everton, who are 17th in the league.
Yeah.
You've got to go for it, man.
I wouldn't know what that feels like.
No, Everton team that I just dismantled, then top of the league Arsenal as well. So it's not just any 17th-old Everton team.
I don't know that
your team couldn't do weeks before. Your team couldn't do it weeks before, Dan. So
they did dismantle Arsenal. They did dismantle them. Definitely.
They were the better team.
He was the better team. He was the better team alive. Just.
Yeah. Nah, I think. Listen, Errol. I mean, I watched the game. We've got to get your thoughts on the game. But Dan's hijacked it to give you some stick. I mean, listen. I watched the game. Apart from
a top 12 show. On the top 12 show.
Mate, the Everton defense, the Liverpool defense have got their shit together. The second Nat Phillips was mentioned, they're like, we got to go to work. We can't have this guy here. We cannot do that. We cannot do that.
I mean, listen, what do you think, Errol? Like, I mean, do you feel like this is the turn? Really, this is the turning point. This game?
No, it's nice to be able to obviously have a laugh with you and fucking stick my chest out for the first time in fucking God knows how many months. But if we're being real, and we're being balanced like the majority of yous are, this isn't a turning point because we've had so many false dawns this season. I can't really say with any real confidence that it is. I said, I was doing a watch along and I said to the guys, I said, look, if Liverpool can't turn up against Everton in a derby, we're not turning up for the rest of the season. I can't bank on a game that will turn up because this means more. It means more to the fans. It should mean more to some of the players that are on the pitch, and it should mean more for your own personal pride. And what I did like about the way we approached the game the other day, it wasn't a case of let's try and be something we're not. Let's try and keep the ball and do the shit that's not been working for us and try and play them off the park. It was more a case of we need to be aggressive. We need to win our second balls. We need to win our individual battles, and we need to be direct and go at them. It was frightening. The pace that we hit them with on the counter was fucking frightening. You said it before in the group chat, Lawless. That was old school Klopp style football. And I think I've said it a couple of times since. There will be games against, obviously, Everton, your Southamptons. There'll be games against lower league teams, your Bournemouths, that will come up against, and we'll be able to play that way. Let teams have the ball. And I think we'll probably play something similar against Newcastle, because even though you're not in the best form at the moment, you're at home and you've been playing fairly confident and you've been happy to be a ball-playing team. So we'll probably concede that responsibility of saying, right, well, you have the ball, do what you can. We'll try and soak up any pressure, but any
it's
mistake,
quite high risk though, Errol, because you saw that you was a few inches from
away from being 1-0 down. Yeah, 100%. But that's the risk that we're going to have to take if we're going to want any of the rewards that are like the likes of top four. Because I think fundamentally, from Newcastle's perspective, if they aren't perfect in their approach, I think we've got and I won't say we've turned the corner, but there'll be a level of ruthlessness now. And I think that comes from A, having certain players back, and B, when you've got more forwards that are going to breathe down your neck, you've got to make the most of your time on the pitch. Nketiah will feel that when Gabriel Jesus comes back. I'm sure Wilson will feel that when Isaac's been back. When you've got other players.
Isaac will start on Saturday.
Yeah, and he's
Wilson will be back fit, but he'll be on the bench. Isaac will start because of what he did at Anfield.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. When you've got forwards, and it's the same even when with Manu and Rashford, when you've got forwards that are actually now coming back from injuries and know that they are capable of performing, your other guys want to book up their ideas, because they know they're going to be sat on the bench and they're going to be on a chill time. So the fact
Salah looked back to his levels as well. Salah was quality, I thought, in that game.
Because you've got two players coming back in that forward line now, you're going to see extra output from Nunes. You're going to see an extra output from Cody Gakpo. And I genuinely think if we can maintain that level of ruthlessness with a little bit of solidity, but keep that level of energy and that winning, that mentality to win your own battles, I think we'll do the same sort of job against Newcastle. And it's still a big if, but if we beat Newcastle, I genuinely believe that could be the catalyst and the springboard for us to go on a bit of a run. I know Dan's wishful thinking, mate. You've been saying this for months.
The one thing I'll throw at you, Errol, is that you've got Real Madrid on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So do you think that Klopp's got that in mind and will maybe keep some players? Because I spoke to a couple of Arsenal fans tonight, Liverpool fans tonight, and they were saying about. I asked a question about Van Dijk, and they said he might not play or start at the weekend because they might save him for.
I think defensively you might be right in that sense. I think defensively he would probably save his big guns, but I think from that midfield engine room, which has been our biggest problem, and it's been, I think, the likes of Fabinho and the likes of Henderson will play again, and he might ask them to go 3 times in that week. He might just say, if you play well on Saturday and you've got the rhythm, I'll play you again, and then I'll manage your minutes come the Real Madrid game at home. But I think it's likely to be the same midfield to go again, and then for Real Madrid, I can imagine he'd drop in a Naby Keita for either a Henderson. And I think Fabinho probably starts again anyway, to just mix it up and just change it. But that's the area that worries me. It's what we do with that Liverpool midfield at the moment. If we try to replicate what we did against Everton, against Newcastle, I can see it doing us some favours. I don't think we can try and be like, we're going to be the dominant team, we're going to have all the possession, we're going to pin yous back wave after wave, because I think yous will be too savvy, and you'll work your way out of it. You'll play outside of our press. You'll be direct, and you'll punish us because, as I say, Isaac's already caused us trouble at Anfield. So I just think we've kind of got to do the same sort of tactics. And if, as I say, it's a big if, but if we beat yous, I think that could be the catalyst for the resurrection of our season. And let me tell you, anyhow, what I'm telling you is right here, right now, anyhow we finish top 4, any team that we finish above to get into that top 4 space, they're getting it. They are getting it.
He sounds like me.
Nah, no, we've not deserved it all season. So if we end up leapfrogging Spurs and Toby, we end up leapfrogging Pete and Newcastle. If Man U drop off a cliff for some reason, you are all in for it at the end of the season. I'll be sharpening my knives and I'll be coming for the lot of yous. I'm telling you.
You know what, Errol? If you don't win a trophy and we win that Conference League, you ain't coming for me. I'm coming for you and the rest of you lot, right? These ain't winning a trophy. So it's going to be a very interesting to the end of the season. I want to ask you about the goal, though, right? Because I had a slightly different take than a lot of people did about the Liverpool's first goal. Because I think Pickford got clowned quite a bit. But when I looked at it, right, I saw that ball, the ball from Núñez was absolutely quality. The way it curves round. And I think, genuinely, he's looked at Gakpo, I think it was, who's coming in. And it looks like it's going to Gakpo. So Pickford's obviously trying to close him down. He'd be better off staying on his line. That was the smart thing to do. But it curves and goes to Salah, who hits it first time. So while he could have done better, and I think he should have stayed on his line, it's not as bad as it looks. By people going, what is he doing running over there when the ball's there?
He's gambled. He's gambled on the ball arriving at Gakpo and Salah not getting to the ball before he does obviously get to the ball. He almost thinks Salah's the decoy in that setup, whereas Salah's just been a poacher and been like, I know that ball's getting to Gakpo. I can kind of see Pickford in the peripheral vision and he's away from the center of the goal. I just need to stick a toe on it and it's going in. And considering Salah's not been in great goal scoring form, I can't knock him for doing that because he is meant to be our talisman. So obviously it's nice that Cody goes on to get the second goal, but if anybody needs to get a Liverpool goal for the rest of the Liverpool team to feel like we can do something and we can kick on, it's Mohamed Salah. So I'm not angry that he did that. Pickford's still a bad bell end. I'm sorry, he is. Like, what's he doing? He's in no man's land. You know what I mean? He's gambled. He's gambled and he's got it completely wrong, but he's got that in his locker where he's just rash and he doesn't read all his angles and do things properly. So I've got no.
And then he'll scream at his defense after.
But I want to give credit to Núñez as well, to be fair, because he starts it in the box and it's the 1-2 with him and Salah.
The pace from Núñez, man.
The pace is frightening from them all. And that's what we've unfortunately for us, and you mentioned it before, us, we haven't created a wealth of chances up until that point that were well earned. Because I think when we've got that in that final third and it's a lot of tight space, I don't think we've got the players right now that can exploit that to the best of their ability when they're not in form. But when we've got space to run into, we've still got some of the most dangerous forwards in this league. Make no mistakes about it. Like Núñez.
What do you make of Gakpo? Like, if you've covered this on a previous show, I forgot. I apologize, but I mean, Gakpo is a guy that I absolutely loved at PSV, and I've seen him struggle against Premier League teams. So I was really kind of fascinated to see how he plugged in at Liverpool. Not gotten off to the greatest start, has he?
No, he hasn't. It's been a bit quiet, but I think it's mad. Again, none of us are really, and because you aren't Liverpool fans, I understand why you aren't. But the man that you really need to be sitting and look deep in is that Bajcetic. That Stefan Bajcetic is going to be a fucking world beater. That kid in midfield is something else.
Yeah,
the way I'm comparing that, Mike, it's not to avoid your Gakpo question, but it's because at the same time of being introduced into that Liverpool team, you can see that one player is just thrived off at 18 years of age and it's water off a duck's back, whereas the other player is coming to a Liverpool team that have been struggling and has struggled himself. So it's not to say that Cody Gakpo hasn't got a player in him. I just think he being in that forward line when that forward line have not been banging, it's been very difficult for him. Having to be a bit of a makeshift, and you'll plug in here, you'll plug in on the left, you'll plug in as as the number 9. It is difficult. I think Klopp in the long term potentially might see him as a bit of a Firmino replacement, and hopes that he can knit the forward line in the same way that Firmino does, dropping a little bit deeper, kind of play the half 9, half 10 role. And if he can, and if he does, and if he's able to do that, I think again, when Klopp gets a new shiny toy, he likes to spend that time integrating him. We haven't had that luxury with Cody Gakpo, and we've been lucky with some other strikers and forwards. Diaz came in last season, hit the ground running, and Jota before that. So maybe he thought, I've got no other option. Go in, let's see if he can hit the ground running. But so far, I don't think he's hit the heights that we imagined him to. But I'm not going to write him off just yet in terms of, I think
it's too early to write him off.
Yeah, too early to write him off. But I think next
there is a flop possibility there, though, and I'm not wishing it. I'm not wishing it to happen because I actually really like the player. I would have been perfectly happy to bring him into to our club. But
I think with the preseason under his belt and with a rejuvenated Liverpool squad to kind of get off the cobwebs of this season in its entirety, I think you'll see a much more composed and complete Cody Gakpo and what he can offer this Liverpool team. It's probably the fairest reflection I can give him at this point.
Yeah, it depends on what the new manager wants to, what position the new manager wants to play.
Look at this. You know what though? I do hope it happens, because obviously Klopp turned us down once before. We'll come back, okay, just come.
He's not coming back for you, man. You might just.
I mean, it's all going to depend. It's going to depend on what Thomas Frank wants to do with him next season. I mean,
we're going to get our new owners.
Errol, do you want serious question now? I've been bantering. If you lose against Newcastle at the weekend, is that top 4 done in your eyes?
Great question.
If we lose, so we don't get the 3 points, I want to say that it is done. Yeah. To be honest with you, and I think it's done because not only does it strengthen Newcastle, who are probably the ones that were chasing and were hoping, but if we can't beat a
12 points beyond you as well.
Yeah, if we can't beat a Newcastle team that are probably in their poorest form so far this season, is that fair to say, Pete?
Yeah, no, you actually, it's really weird. We've had 5 draws out of 6, but yeah, that's our worst form of the season.
That's the worst form of
picking up points.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's still a hard team to beat, but if when we're probably sitting here now and I'm saying we're going to win, you're saying you're going to win, probably be a draw. But if we was to not get if they was to beat us and get the 3 points, I think that it'd probably be a steep step too far, because we've still got to come up against West Ham, we've still got to come up against Man U, we've still got to play Arsenal, we've still got to play City. So there's still Spurs. There's still a lot of there's the better part of 15 points there that none of them are givens, and then obviously. We can always step up the level to play your biggest rivals. Not guaranteeing you're going to win. You step up your level and your performance always seems to go up a few notches. But it's the teams that we should be rolling over that, of course, there's the most problem throughout this season. So I'd like us, what we need more than anything else is a run of wins. We need to get that run of wins so we can confidently feel like it's a possibility. And Newcastle is the next step in that for us. And I think we're going to book them at the right time. And if we do, and we manage to get the one over, that might just be the springboard for, and not necessarily the players, because I think the players have been there and done it before. Like we were saying about Man City, they know what it takes to be able to reach certain objectives. They know even when the chips are down, we can still put 5, 6, 7 games, wins on the run if we put our mind to it. I think more than anything else, the jitters are with the fan base right now, because they've not given us any reassurance or any sample size of enough wins this season. I don't know the fans feel that confidence, and I think that nervous energy emits back onto the players, and then it gets into their subconscious.
It's so recent since you was down in the dumps like that. Hodgson era is still, I think, recent and fresh in fans' mind of we don't want to go back to that. You hadn't established yourself long enough up there. You know what I mean? Where it's like shit. Like I can understand that nervousness.
But even this season, Dan, is that for you, Errol? I remember we went to. I think it was on the same day. We went to Old Trafford and we drew 0-0 because I was at the game and I was on the way to train back, and we're watching the Liverpool Man City game at Anfield, and you guys won. And you guys won, and everyone was saying Liverpool are back, they're there. But the next week, I think you went to Forest, and you ended up getting
lost and then got beat by Leeds.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Newcastle are going to win, but you hear Sky and you hear the pundits and saying Liverpool are back, this, that, and the other, and they might well come to St James's Park and win. And I do think it'll be a season-changing win if you do come to St James's Park and win at the weekend. But if you don't win, and Dan,
That's been the story of our season.
He said, if Liverpool don't win, what does that mean? And it puts you back to that same square one.
Back to square one. It's the story of our season. If we don't win, it's the story of our season. Or in the space of X amount of days, it's the same old story for us this year. Yeah. That's why I'm not saying it's we've turned the corner just off the back of the Everton game. As much as I can enjoy it because it's our our noisy neighbours and they're our closest rivals in that respect. I don't think the performance on its own kind of signified that we've turned the corner. There was still a lot to be desired from that performance. And I think, in all honesty, you're going to need more quality from your midfield engine room. You're going to need to not give away, especially because we knew Everton's were going to come at us for set pieces. And that, as Lawler said before, we was millimetres away from being 1-0 behind. So we've got to be more defensively resolute and have that better base for midfield. Don't get me wrong, if that forward line can be as frightening fast and as ruthless, we've got a chance to beat anybody on any given day. But the other components have got to marry up with that as well. Otherwise, you're asking too much of this fragmented side at the minute.
It's when you concede, it's when you concede, mate. When Liverpool concede, it's that feeling you see amongst the players. Here we go again. Do you know what I mean? And that's the difference between Liverpool when they did win
the fans that know it. The fans are like, here we go again. Fucking hell.
I mean, you're describing 2018 Arsenal to a perfect T right now.
Describing the last 12 years at United.
Yes, you can see that, and it's a here we go again type of situation. When you break out of that, you see the exact opposite of that, where the fans are already cheering the team. As the goal is going in against us, they're already trying to G up the team, get them ready. The players are talking to each other. When we've scored, they're having strategy discussions, not just celebrating how did we get here. And that's it's a sea change in how the club works. And you're on the downside of that right now, and it's hard to stay at the top. It's hard to keep that going year after year after year.
Let's quickly get to Mark's question, actually, because he's been dying to this. So we'll quickly answer that, and we'll just spend. We've only got like a couple of minutes left for West Ham and Newcastle now.
And it's a 15-part question.
You're welcome, Errol. You're welcome. We give you about half an hour to build up your team while Dan tries to bring you down.
Do you honestly think that I like the thought of United potentially being 17 points clear of Liverpool by the end of the weekend? Do you think I really like that? Really? Do you think I enjoy that? Do you think?
What kind of person would enjoy something like that?
Oh, real.
Big twisted individual.
So Mark's got this question for Mike. He's been dying for you to answer. Mike, what do you think of the meltdown? I guess it's a meltdown some Arsenal fans are having after losing. Racist abuse against Tony at the weekend. I guess that's after the Brentford game. And fans asking for Arteta out. Now, how can you summarize that quickly?
I'm going to try to answer that. Let me start with the easy part. The racist abuse against Ivan Toney is unacceptable. Whoever was doing that, they need to find them, identify them, ban them, do whatever is legal to do to somebody who does that in the country that they live in, because there's just first of all, Ivan Toney had an incredible game. He could have scored 3 or 4 in that game. Only
had one run fairly ruled out, in my opinion.
And he had one that should have been ruled out that wasn't. So yeah, I mean, you don't take it out on the player. VAR screwed that game up. They've admitted to it. It doesn't help us at all that they've admitted to it. But Ivan Toney isn't the reason that VAR screwed anything up. So obviously, I shouldn't even need to say this. Racist abuse against any player, period, should be prosecuted to the highest levels that it can be. And if in fact it came from Arsenal supporters, those are not Arsenal supporters in my opinion. I'm not saying that the people weren't Arsenal supporters. I'm saying that they don't deserve to be called Arsenal supporters.
If they were, do they not remember the abuse that Bukayo Saka got?
Yeah.
And the support they threw him off the back of that, it just makes no sense.
That goes into the tribalism of football, isn't it?
But then will throw racist abuse for another player just because he scored a goal and had a great game.
I mean, abusing someone because of their color, their religion, their preferences, their gender. I mean, it's just there's no room for it in football, and it's a sadly fact that people are going to get to the lowest common denominator when they are feeling angry at something, and when that happens, it should be punished.
The sad thing is, though, and I'll just keep it 100, which is that there clearly is room for it in football because this isn't nothing new. And I know that sounds morbid and very defeatist in that, but John Barnes way back was getting banana skins flung on the pitch. You get me? Like hooliganism, people have been getting. Obviously, Chelsea fans are still getting subjected to homophobic chants and rare. Like. We say as much as we want, we can do as many protests, but until the top of the pyramid actually make substantial changes as and when they are confronted with in the face of racism or homophobic or bigoted abuse, until they make those changes, it will not filter down to the fans for the fans to realize that actually it's not acceptable. And I think that's one official's got, not necessarily official, but one of the the governing bodies has got to be brave enough to say enough is enough, and we deem these acts as punishable by lifetime bans or punishable by season tickets being revoked, because only then will people think twice about, is it really worth having that 30-second outburst when I could potentially lose not seeing a team that I love for the rest of my life live.
And it could be started. One of the sources of abuse could be stopped at the institutional level, at the club level, by Tottenham Hotspur, because let's not forget anti-Semitism. I am personally affected by that, and them using that disgusting word as a sign of glory and
they've been asked to stop by the.
They were asked, and I asked the unicorn to stop floating around behind me, but I didn't do anything about it until about 5 minutes ago. They're in the same. They're in the same situation.
Jewish community of some sort of organization of Jewish people that they said, we don't like this, that you say this, stop this.
Well,
and they said no.
Jewish people can decide whether they find it offensive or not. I'd say the vast majority do, but I know many who don't.
I went to a Jewish school. I know a lot of them.
But I did a kind of a prank interview. I went to a Spurs Conference League game while I was in London a couple years ago. Hadn't been to the stadium yet, and just wanted to go undercover. And at halftime, I'd had a few, and I started interviewing their fans. Why, I pretended I was an independent American trying to pick my Premier League club, and I was going to different stadiums. But really, what I was doing was interviewing them to let them dig their own grave. Why are you a Spurs fan? What is this word that people keep chanting? And then at the end I would ask each one of them, like, are you Jewish? And they were like, no. And so I mean, they think they're doing something noble, and there is a traditional reason why they're doing it, but it's hurtful and it's ridiculous. And the fact that the club don't actually follow up with their please, we'd like it if you stop doing this type of thing.
It's weak.
Yeah, they've not done anything, and in the same regard, the Premier League should be acting stronger when it comes to racist abuse.
You got to add sanctions.
It's an awful, it's a shitty world that we live in. So no, I think that's terrible, Mark. And as far as the meltdown and people wanting Arteta out, I mean, if you want Arteta out right now, I have no words for you. I mean, I
want Arteta out right now.
Well, and as an Arsenal fan, you should take that under advisement. If other teams want him gone, it's like the reverse of the "we want you to stay" chant.
I think he builds more of a rod for him back if he does win it, though, because your board are never going to pull the trigger on him, and I think he will have overachieved if he goes on to win. So you're in a catch-22, because how long do you stay loyal to a man that's just got you back to the promised land?
Well, you have to. I mean, you have to overcome that. You have to just not give the guy a blank job that is unlosable, because once you lose the players in the dressing room, you have to go. So
I don't see that happening anytime soon.
No, I mean he's that's what happened to Unai
Emery. He's in control now, but you know what I'm saying though, isn't it, Mike? If he gets to that point, you've built a rod for your own back, because there will be those fans that'll still say if there's a downturn in form, he needs to go. But how'd you get rid of that guy that's just took you back to the pinnacle?
Yeah, well, how long is the grace period allowed to happen? Is one Premier League title enough to, and a Europa League, and maybe going, is that worth 5 years of things clearly disintegrating? And I think we may be finding that out at Liverpool in the next couple of years.
Let's follow that back to Errol.
I knew it was coming circle.
Because look, I love Jurgen Klopp, and he's accomplished some incredible things. I still think he's a great coach, but how many years of finishing 8th or 9th are they going to put up with? But anyway, I don't know what meltdown. I don't know.
Let's hope it happens long enough to ask that question.
Yeah. Well, should we? Let's quickly
know what meltdown he's talking about.
I
don't know what the third part of the question about the meltdown. I don't know what that's.
Yeah, meltdown, because we've got teams too that we support. By the way, West Ham. Who? Listen, if Errol can sit there and say, we've turned a corner, lad. We're on the up. All of that.
Errol, what was Errol? You can't have that, mate. You can't have that.
You need to hear his Geordie accent. Jesus.
Yeah, my Geordie accent is Jamaican. It's late. I'm not. It's been a long day. I've been to Tottenham filming. I weren't my best. But
why would you do that?
If Errol can say, yeah, I know. I had to go and film with Tobes. But if Liverpool can, if Errol can sit there and say, we could be turning a corner, maybe you could say the same about West Ham. I'm not there yet. We drew against Newcastle. We drew against Chelsea. We beat Everton, right? Obviously lost to Wolves. I'm seeing signs that we're getting better, but we need wins, because I'm looking at the teams around us and they're picking up big wins. Obviously, Wolves beat Liverpool. Everton beat Arsenal. A lot of these teams are getting up big wins. We need wins. And I'm not trying to hear, it's a good point because it's Chelsea. It's a good point because Newcastle are up there. Or it's going to be a good point because it's Spurs. We need 3 points. We need to climb the table. And I'm hoping this back five is finally the thing that we need, and it's clicking. Moyes has finally worked out that Paqueta is not a playmaker. Took him 6 months. So, I'm willing to just
definitely beat AEK Lamaka in the next round of the Conference League. I mean, that one should be should definitely be good for confidence.
Nailed on.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And then we'll win the whole thing. And then a lot of people here will be in the mud, and it will be beautiful. But I'm at this juncture, I'm willing to ride it out with Moyes until the end of the season, because and this ain't that I ain't flip-flopped on Moyes. I have not flip-flopped. I'm still Moyes out ultimately. But the options available right now, I'm not seeing any options available that we could get. Who? Jesse Marsh. Oh, no, leave. Listen, I like Jesse Marsh. I don't want him at my club.
Rafa Benitez.
Oh, you know what? I know Newcastle fans worship this guy. He never won.
Mancini. Go get Mancini.
No, but he's not going to come mid-season when we're in a relegation battle.
No. He's just not going to come to West Ham. It's not about mid-season. He's not.
Aaron was going for that one. He was
Look at him.
I did the layup, and then just boom.
Listen.
You must have been the same Pochettino.
Not there for Qatari money. Look at him now. Arrogance there. The arrogance of it. But this is the point. No, but this is I said this on the preview with Tobes today, right? I either want elite manager or a young, up-and-coming, hungry manager, right? Neither of those options are going to come, or should come during where we are now.
Super fun.
Oh yeah. Listen, he nearly tanked your boys down the road.
You said up and coming manager.
He's not up and coming. He's already decided. I think he's done. He's already done. Yeah. When I'm talking about young managers, that I want to take a chance, and we don't do that midweek. Like I'm looking at Vincent Kompany at Burnley, right, and things like that. I look at that and I think, or Michael Carrick, right, who's doing a good job.
Michael Carrick's doing brilliant.
But those are options you don't bring when you're in mid-season in a relegation battle. So if we can't get the elite of the elite, the top names that wouldn't come mid-season in a relegation battle anyway if they came at all. Then I want young, hungry managers. I don't want these dinosaurs like the Raffers and the Big Sams and all these other names that just get passed around all the time. I'm done with that. I want to be excited about my football club again, and I'm willing to take a risk on a company or a Carrick and have a long-term project because Moyes thing is no.
If I'm West Ham, mate, if I'm West Ham in the summer, I am absolutely smashing that door down at Brentford. I am. I think he is absolutely. He's class. He's the best manager outside top six without a doubt. He is unreal. That bloke is.
Right. Yeah.
I think he'd suit you as well. I think he'd do well. I think he'd do really well there.
I have seen him, and it's probably tactically, but I've seen him play some atrocious stuff. I remember when he came to our ground first season, and they were time wasting like 11 minutes into the game, and I just wanted to, punch him in the face. But it's probably means he's doing a good job, I guess. But I'm just done. I'm really done with the brand of football we play. I'm bored to tears, and I just think, look, if West Ham are not going to
trophy this season, if it wins you a trophy this season, Moyes ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. That's true.
That's facts.
You want the trophy, you want the Europa Conference, but
man's getting a statue
if he wins that, he gets another season.
We need to do a Spurs, but better. Sack him before the final, and get Ryan Mason in. No, I'm joking, not Ryan Mason. Yeah. But I would but it's not like sacking Jose before. Who sacks Jose Mourinho before a final? If that's an option, get us to the final. Bye. Get someone else quickly just to win the trophy.
That's true though, isn't it though, Lawless? Like that's the risk he's running. If you go on to win that, there's no way that Moyes is gone in the summer.
It's a big risk. It is a big risk.
Especially if you stay up. If you stay up, you're in the Premier League again, and you've just won a European competition. You're not getting rid of him, even if the brand of football isn't the one that is, the fans can adhere to.
That's it. It's weird. It's like a lose-lose. Because I really want to win a trophy this season, but I don't want to stick with Moyes because you could say, oh look, if you look at it from the outside, he got a 6th, and into the Europa League. He, was in the top 4 challenge. Then he got a 7th. And then he's won us a trophy. On the outside, when you just look at that, you think, wow, look what that guy's done. Great job, all of that. I'm looking at the future. This guy is not sustainable at this club. He's not sustainable because he has no idea about the football players that we are bringing into this football club. Case in point, he said Paqueta was potentially the next Dimitri Payet. 2 completely different players. Oh yeah, I was hoping he'd get us 10 assists and 10 goals a season. Never done that at Lyon. Not his game. Why is he our record signing then if you don't have a clue about this player? That's a worry. I don't and the youth, all the problem with the youth, you don't give youth a chance. Honestly, and the football is shit. Like I said, I need to have one of the other.
Hasn't he?
Huh?
So he's got you losing your head, Annie.
Listen, thankfully,
he started throwing his chest out about how they were going to win a trophy this season, and now it's like the worst thing that could possibly happen is that they win that trophy.
I know.
Just picture now the Conference League final. They've just won it. Everyone's going mad. Lawless is just sat there in his seat.
I'll be living rent free in your head this summer.
You know what it'll be like? It'll be like getting drunk.
Fan that's crying like that. That'll be Lawless.
For the entire week before the Conference League final, we need to get like a camera following Lawless around, like just to see what his day-to-day life is like. And he's happy, he's upset, like the most bipolar situation you could possibly be.
You know what? I will be super happy in the moment. I'll celebrate. I'll get drunk, and it'll be like waking up the next day and rolling over and realizing what you've brought home that night before, and it will be Moyes, and I'll go, oh no, Thanks for bringing that up, Errol. Now you've got me feeling pessimistic about winning the title.
Lawless pre-season running up the steps to that big statue of Moyes outside West Ham. Oh, what have we done?
Oh my God!
It was signed an
immortalized.
It was signed an extension in the summer. It was signed an extension.
Because he's got 18 months left on his deal. We cannot give him no. Honestly, like we just need to look at it and go, do you know what? Good job, Moyes. But don't worry, someone else will take it over from here. Like, there should
be no reason why they can't do that. I mean, they're because it's not like he's won the Champions League and now they're going to switch directions.
You know, Mike, footy clubs don't.
Oh no, I know that doesn't. I'm saying there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to do that. But I know that they don't.
and this sounds arrogant from me, like because look, we don't win trophies and all of that stuff, but we should be winning this competition this year. We are.
That's about Van Gaal, didn't he? Van Gaal won the FA Cup, didn't he? And he still fucked him off.
Yeah,
there is hope. Yeah. There is hope.
To be fair, we did. I mean, the next season we won the Europa, the Carabao, and we it was justified, I suppose, that decision in the end.
Well, yeah. So hopefully, then our decision will be just So
yeah, but that was done 6 months in advance, though. With Van Gaal, you knew he was going.
It was done 12 months too late, mate. I couldn't stand it.
Yeah, it was, but at least you knew by the end of the season he was going.
Well, maybe Moyes knows, and this is his swan song.
Lawless, it's different.
No, but what happens if Moyes does know and it's a swan song?
Moyes is, mate, I'm telling you, he's there with the trophy in the changing rooms, and everyone's like, they're sat there. You got Rice sat there looking, and he's like, I've heard a lot of reports saying that, this is my swan song, and that. I'm going to retire into the sunset with a trophy. I'm here to tell you all now, I'm not.
I've signed a new bumper 8-year contract.
The show goes on.
I will drag him out of that club. I was like,
don't go on.
Oh my God. Do you know what the beautiful thing is? I think we're going to be up for sale after April. I think after April we're going to be up for sale because
maybe the Qataris should hold off on this whole United thing and think.
Yeah, we're much better value for money. We're much better value for money.
I always actually wondered why. I mean, the Newcastle purchase is a great example of this. I mean, if you take a team with a large fan base and a large infrastructure, but not necessarily the kind of multi-billion-pound value as you have in a United, you can build something into a much larger profit. They really don't care about that, obviously, but buying a Sheffield Wednesday and then who's got a big stadium and is in some semi-big city in England, that to me seems like a better way of growing a club from the ground up than buying one that's huge and just having to deal with people like us who are never satisfied.
But Qataris don't buy Ford Fokies.
Well, right.
They go out there and buy Lambos and G-Wagons. Like that's the market.
Then they can put more money into the playing and get more attractive players rather than buy this. They've got to build Man United a new stadium, all of this stuff. They can own a London club that they can build and go, we did that.
I was kind of not serious about it, but that is a club that you could get for a lot less money and build it into it. And
I think 600 million is the asking price, and it'll be interesting. I've seen some people point out that
does that include the stadium?
4-bedroom, yeah, it's pretty much what is round about what you'd be paying in London.
Look at the size of Mike's pool, Mike. Why don't you fucking buy him?
Buy us, Mike.
It's a bad investment. I've run the numbers. It's not going to work.
Listen, if you sack,
I might buy this podcast though and turn it into something. No, just good.
but no, I heard talking about because if they get the Qatari owners, I've heard that potentially Jim Radcliffe, because he does want a Premier League club, he'd rather have Man United. That is a potential.
He went for Chelsea first, didn't he? He went for Chelsea.
Yeah. So that is a potential, and I think Sullivan is on his way out.
Would you take the Glazers?
Would I take the Glazers? I'll take the Glazers, Mike Ashley. Oh yeah, let's have them all. Let's have a consortium of like the Glazers, Mike Ashley, FSG.
Take the guy from Blackpool. I mean, you got the whole winners, all the winners there lined up.
That'd be the consortium of dreams.
Consortium.
I'm gonna miss this. I'm gonna miss this next season, Lawless. I'm gonna miss this.
No, you'll be in it. You'll still be in it because you'll have won.
If they win the Conference League, Lawless gets another year, right?
Yeah.
We'll be.
You're the David Moyes of this show, mate. No one knows how you stick around, but every fucking week you're back every time.
If we win, I will have to be on the show all season regardless because we'll be European champions. The only ones on here that are European champions, yeah. So we're going to be on it regardless. Listen, you're not getting rid of me.
Europe
we're not getting rid of
Europe
Moyes,
with a lowercase e.
Yeah, honestly. So let's see what happens with West Ham. Obviously, let's quickly touch on Newcastle. 1 win in 5. Poor form. Look, that sums up it. Are the wheels starting to fall off like they might be? I think the wheels aren't falling off of Arsenal yet. They're wobbling. And maybe the wheels are wobbling at Newcastle. Obviously, you're in good spirits. All eyes are on the cup final.
Lost.
You know?
No,
lost. But the thing is, if you look at it, right, 5 wins. If they would have lost 3 and won one of those draws, it's the same points tally. Do you know what I mean? So we can all, and this is what I've said with our team. People go, "Oh, well, we haven't lost in this many games."
It's the draws that kill you in the Prem.
Yeah, it does.
Imagine going through a whole season without losing, though. I wish that could happen sometime.
Right.
Yeah, I know. Wasn't it? Celtic did that, didn't they? Didn't Celtic do it?
I think Preston North End might have done it 177,000 years ago.
Yeah, but, Preston did it.
Couldn't happen in the modern game, though.
I said at the weekend it was Newcastle's worst performance of the season, and it was. You can tell in the first 10 minutes we were in control. We had huge levels of possession, but we just weren't looking to progress the ball forward, and it wasn't the type of performance that we saw. Like Lawless, like we were all action at St James's Park against you guys. Early doors, we were at you. We tried to hit you. It was the complete opposite against Bournemouth. We were just holding the ball in defence, knocking it about. We just didn't have the same attacking intent, and it was the worst performance. But look, for all the kind of question marks about Newcastle and all the rest of it, this is our worst form of the season. But yet we're still in 4th spot. We're still in a chance of getting top 4. And to have our worst form of the season and still be unbeaten in that period and to be still picking up points, you almost can't complain about it. You can't, because it might not be what top 4 and what the rest of you guys on the panel would be wanting, maybe Lawless aside, but at the same time, we are still in a position where we're still wanting to get where we want to get to, which is Champions League football. So it's not the end of the world, and we're still within a fighting chance. And look, we've done it all without Bruno Guimaraes last 2 games. He is pivotal, like in terms of the way in which we want to play football. And yes, we've got to play Liverpool without him, but to have him back for the final and beyond that, more importantly, is going to be crucial to us.
Can I ask you a question real quick then, Pete? If you had to sacrifice top 4 now to say Liverpool, and Liverpool beat you on the weekend, but you get Europa League and you beat Man U the following week, would you bite my hand off for that situation right now?
I think most Newcastle fans probably would, if I'm honest with you.
Would you?
Would you?
Man who don't respect these competitions.
I'm saying to you, most Newcastle fans would.
That's so violent. Why do you have to fight body parts?
Like I said, we've had a taste of potentially getting Champions League football, and because we've had a taste, me personally, I want that Champions League football because we've had a taste of being in and around it all season, and the commercial side of things for everything that we need moving forward would be massive. But look, getting a trophy, getting European. My prediction at the beginning of the season, my prediction was between 10th and 8th in the Premier League.
That's you guys have been punching above your weight all season,
and you know what? I'd have snapped your hand off.
You know about that, Mike?
I'd have snapped your hand off for it in August to be anywhere between 10th and 8th. The fact that we're now with 15 or however many games to go, we're sitting in 4th in the table. I can't complain. We're in the cup final. I can't complain. Like, we are way above what we expected to be 1 year in for Newcastle United. And I've said it before and I've said it again. I'm sitting around a panel with you guys and with Tobes and Potts and all the rest of them, and obviously Lewis as well from Chelsea. And you guys are having these conversations because you're serial winners. You pick up trophies, whether it's FA Cups, Carabaos.
Wait, why did you name Tobes in there?
Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah. I'm just saying that because you guys are always fighting in the top 6. Like you guys are always in and around things in terms of that. So you expect that every season. Like this wasn't expected for us. So sometimes. Like you'll say, oh yeah, you know, you kind of right. You always say I'm riding the wave. I am riding the wave. I'm loving every minute of the season because
you've given me such a politician's answer, Pete.
I know he is.
I just wanted to know, would you
swap? He wants to know if his hand's being bitten off or not.
He does this all the time. He does this all the time, Pete, when you put it on. He always gives the political answer. He never just sticks his neck out and says, some might say that we would prefer that.
The reason why I'm the way I am is because I don't personally want, like, if we ended up like the cup aside. If we ended up finishing Europa League, I don't want to be disappointed with that. That's a season that I wasn't expecting at the beginning of the season. I don't want to be disappointed with that. We've had a smell of Champions League football, and if we were to get that, that would be amazing. That would be 2 years ahead of the project. I don't want to be disappointed with Europa League football because I wouldn't have expected it. You guys are looking down at Europa League football, conference football, and going, "Nah, we don't want it. You have it. You have it. I'd have slapped your hand off for it." At the beginning of the season, I'm still of that mindset. Are we ever going to turn down a trophy? No, nowhere near, because we haven't won it one for so long. We're never ever. I don't think anybody on this panel would turn down a trophy this season. Why? Because trophies are becoming harder and harder to win every single season. Doesn't matter what trophy it is, whether it's Carabao,
really bad news for Toes.
Premier League, Champions League,
Conference.
It doesn't matter what trophy it is. They're becoming harder and harder to win because everybody wants a trophy. It's considered a successful season for everybody if you win a trophy. So there's no way that anybody on this panel can turn down a trophy.
You forget that United, we're in four competitions still. You know, United is still.
Oh, the quad is on. The quadruple is on.
And the pressure, and look, I'm sure we'll get down to it next week, but the pressure is on you to win the Carabao Cup. Because you guys are going in as favourites. We're not. We're going into this not expecting to be in the final. We're loving every minute. We're going to go for it, and we're going to try and win it. No doubt about it.
You're playing with the house's money right now.
But the pressure is all on Man United to win.
I like that, Mike.
It's whether Man United.
Much pressure is on them in terms of because they when we talk about Arsenal ahead of their project. Newcastle ahead of their project. I know Man United historically spent a lot of money, but this is Ten Hag's first season when they've been down in the dumps. You could argue that Ten Hag, if winning it, I mean, he's slightly ahead of his project.
I agree. Little Newcastle who have spent 185 million. I agree. It is. No one's expecting them to win it.
The problem with Manchester United has been that they never had a project.
Okay, so Dan, you're telling me that Newcastle United are favourites to win the Carabao Cup ahead of Man United. That's what you're telling me by what you've just said.
I'm telling you that you cannot go along the lines of, we're just happy to beat. It's bollocks. It's bollocks. You've spent the money. You're in the position you are. Stick your chest out. It's going to be a fucking massive final. And yes, we are going to beat you.
I'm not denying it's going to be a massive final. And what I've just said to you, Dan, if you were listening, we're going to go for it and we're going to try and win it. But what I'm saying to you is, I'm talking about everybody's talking about Man United have to win a trophy because you haven't won one for so long.
You, it's 185 million.
I get it. Yeah, of course it is because of how long we've not won it. But the expectancy, you've just spent 100 million on one player, and you're building a brand new squad.
So are you.
I know you are, but you're expected to be top four. You're expected to be challenging for the title. You have, because of your club history and everything you've built over the last 30 years, you are expected to win a trophy. We are not. Am I saying that we're not trying to win a trophy? Of course not. Am I saying that we're going to go there and just sit back and let you guys win the trophy? No, we're going to go out there and we're going to go and try and win the trophy. But what I'm saying is there's an added pressure for Man United to win the trophy. And the fact that you're kind of like turning your nose up at that. That's crazy. For you to think that there's an added pressure for Man United to win the trophy ahead of Newcastle United. There is an added pressure for you to win that trophy. There is no doubt about it.
So you don't think there's no pressure on Newcastle to win this trophy?
I'm not. But did I say there was no pressure on Newcastle?
No, but you're saying that all the pressure's on us.
Of course it is. Of course it is. You haven't won a trophy. You haven't won a trophy for God knows how long. And you've got the fan base, and you've got the expectancy of everybody that you should win a trophy.
I disagree. Spent 200 who were a strong team, behave, Dan. Oh, God almighty. Oh, here we go.
Newcastle fans are after you now.
Here we go.
What I'm saying to you is, I'm not saying that we're going to sit there and we're just going to accept about being in the final and that's enough for us. No, not at all. We're going to go and we're going to try and win the trophy. And yeah, we're going to go all out for it. But what I'm saying to you is that there's an added pressure for you to win the trophy. There's an added pressure for you because of your history, because of the level of club that you are, right? You're expected to be up there challenging every year for the Premier League.
If they win a trophy, the Glazers get another year.
Expectancy that we don't have, not yet. But there's
Mike asked a good question there. If Man United win the trophy, the Glazers get another year.
I'll tell you what, if the Glazers get another year,
you can't get rid of the Glazers if they're bringing you trophies, can you?
Exactly.
I think Newcastle, you need to use it. There's pressure on you though, because if you don't win this trophy now and this chance early doors, you could become the next Tottenham, where you've got the clout and you've got the pull to be in and amongst the top 6 every year, but you can't get over the line. And the pressure.
It's too early to say that though in this season.
No, it is. It's a wild shout. It's a wild card.
That's too early to say that. Tottenham have had 14, 15 years on us. They need to be changed places with us when Mike Ashley came in. They've had all that time to win a trophy. They played Champions League football and got to a Champions League final, which is great. But they've had 15 years to do that, and they haven't done it. You can't say after 1 year, literally just over 1 year, that Newcastle United will be the next Tottenham, because that's not realistic. You've got to give us at least the opportunity to show that we can win a trophy, to build a team. Like that's Tottenham spent a lot of money over the years.
Exactly, but that pressure will come quick on you because of the amount of money you're able to spend. So whereas Tottenham have been able to spread it over 15 years, you'll get that condensed, and you'll be lucky if you get 6. The way football's moving, you'll be lucky if you get 6 years before you're getting those comparisons.
No, but I disagree with you. I disagree with you because everything that's happened with Man City, and this is a completely different conversation, a separate conversation, with everything that's happened with Man City, we are not going to be allowed to go and splash the money that Man City, Chelsea, and all the rest have been able to.
They've already stopped that, haven't they?
They've already put a stop to us being able to do that. So yes, do we have the money to go out and splash on big players and do all that sort of stuff? Yes. But are we able to do it within financial fair play right now? No. So our project is always going to be longer than a Chelsea and a Man City. It's not going to be like Man City won the league in 3-4 years of their Abu Dhabi takeover. They won the league. We're not going to be in that position. But the fact that we've done what we've done now within a year is amazing. We want to build on that, but we're not going to be able to do what Man City did. And this is what a lot of fans outside of Newcastle don't get, is that financial fair play and the fact that they're going hammer and tong at Man City and all the talk about that, it just solidifies the fact that we're not going to be able to do that. We've got the money to do it, but we're not actually going to be able to spend that money. And it's going to take longer for us to get that, which is why when the PIF came in, they said, this is not a project for 2 or 3 years. This is a project for 10 years and above and beyond that, because they know that they're not going to be able to go in and spend whatever they want. It's going to take time. And if it takes time, that's fine. If it builds us solidity in order to be able to challenge up there every year to give us an opportunity to win a trophy, that's fine. For a lot of you on this panel, you're used to being up there and challenging every year. For you like yourself, Dan, Lawless, for example, you know what it's like to be relegated and playing in the Championship. You know what it's like to have been in a relegation battle. So do I. So although we banter you sometimes and take the mick, I understand what it's like for you, where you are right now, because we've been there year in, year out. right? And that's the bit that you, Dan, you, Errol, and you, Mike, don't understand is you've never been down there. You've never been down there at the bottom fighting for your lives and praying and hoping that you're just going to stay in the league. We've done it year after year. So for when you guys laugh and you joke about pressure and you laugh and joke about trophies, we're just happy to fucking be in the league and be in a position where we're on 41 points now and where we would have took that right at the beginning of the season. Right. And that's the reality.
Small violin that I'm playing in the background for you. You're at the big table now, buddy. You're at the big table.
Yeah, but the history is still raw for it. It's only been a year in. Talk to me in 2 or 3 years when we've been able to build the project the way we want to, and my conversation will be very, very different.
And you know what? I agree with Geordie Toon for life here. The Big Six brought FFP and stopped smaller clubs from going. It's anti-competitive.
Gary Neville said the same. Gary Neville said it the other night, and I agree with him.
Well, the reason that's ended up being the result of it is the growth of the Champions League money. Because if you're not getting that, then FFP is really, really constraining you. So yeah, I mean, I don't think that was the intent, but the way that the Champions League has grown, I think that's been the outcome.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Because you look at it, established history of Man United and Arsenal, Liverpool, they're always going to generate more money than a Newcastle, a West Ham. Fulham's and Brightons are trying to get up, so they're always going to be able to do much more within the confines of FFP because you're going to sell more T-shirts, tickets, merch.
You've got more money to play with from that.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why it stops. It sort of pulls the ladder up, raises the drawbridge, and stops other clubs trying to compete and break into that.
This goes back to what Mike was saying before. It's only a matter of time before the Super League comes back. We're all on that kind of countdown to it in one iteration or another, and it's just a matter of time.
Strongly recommend on Apple TV you watch it's a 4-part documentary. It's done really, really well. There's a lot of inside stuff.
Or Put Locker.
And if you click Mike's link in bio, you'll get 20% off your first month subscription.
Yeah, exactly. There's other ways if you don't have Apple TV.
Hey, Pete, is it true that that Amazon are doing the documentary at Newcastle now?
They've already been filming. So when it comes
bring in a bunch of extra light bulbs for it.
They've already been filming.
You mean the PR piece, not a documentary? These all or nothings are not documentaries; they're PR pieces.
Yeah,
documentaries.
They've been filming for 3 or 4 months now. So
and the greatest part about it being a PR
aware of it. So I think a lot of fans have been calling for it. To be fair, I think more so they want to see the inside of what PIF have been doing in the background. And obviously, of course,
Rowan Gulliver, that's amazing. Get that up on the screen. That should be the title. That is stunning. Fair play. I like that.
The greatest part of the All or Nothing is that they are PR pieces, yet the one of them that made the team that was being featured look awful was Spurs.
Yeah,
I mean they couldn't even get their PR piece trophy right.
No, I think the best PR for that series was Mourinho. He got the best PR out of it. The rest of them looked like
and Danny Rose, my God, he never recovered from that, did he?
Yeah.
I mean, they look like a shit show, though. They look like an absolute shit show. Mourinho was clearly making decisions so that he would look like a badass on the documentary and not necessarily trying to win anything there. I mean, it was. That was why we were worried that they did us last season, because we were expecting something like that. But, Arsenal obviously worked out some creative control to make it a little less behind the scenes.
That's why I don't really bother watching them, because it's all bollocks. It's all fake PR fluff pieces, and a documentary is supposed to get to the real truth, the nitty gritty. And, that's why Liverpool, you got to give them respect. They didn't sink to those levels. Actually, Man United ain't done one, have they?
We don't need to. Our dirty laundry's in the papers every other week.
They haven't sold out. Sold their soul for PR. But you know what? Let's end it. And poor Mike's getting hypothermia in that pool. He's like Jack from Titanic. He's about to
No, the pool, the temperature outside is about 24, but the pool's about 34. So.
Oh wow, is it heated pool?
Oh, okay.
Tunnel's dirty there. Tunnel's dirty.
Lads, we're doing this wrong, aren't we? We're doing this wrong. We're living life wrong.
Yeah.
I know. So, well, listen, Mike.
We have the documentary people just showed up at my house also, so I got to get going. The Amazon crew just showed up. So
Mike and the unicorn make us believe. Perfect.
Right, next time, Mike, we want to see you doing the show on the unicorn.
I'm trying to lose enough weight that I could do that without flipping over. So yeah, we'll do that.
All in the balance.
If I'm ever invited back, I promise I'll do that.
Listen, I'm sure you will be, mate. It's part-time Pots now. That's what I call him. Part-time Pots. He's never here. So I imagine you will. But great to be on with you, my friend. And thanks for stepping in and taking the smoke, because Dan's been diving for a while now since Arsenal have been crap, and judges obviously.
Good time judges couldn't show up for a show like this today.
But obviously Gooners Pod. Tell us about where they can find you.
Yep, we're on Twitter at the Gooners Pod, Instagram, although we barely ever do anything on Instagram because I'm old and I don't understand it and it's for the kids. But Twitter I've figured out. The show obviously is on YouTube. We have guest shows, we have panel shows. There's about 6 of us that do the podcast, and just have a pretty good time. It's irreverent. There's a lot of banter, a lot of inappropriateness, and then occasional discussion about Arsenal.
And go look out for Mike's fan cam after the Man United game where he says, "We're gonna win the league."
I'm looking for this as soon as I come off.
Yes,
it's me, but with about 5 bottles of red wine. So it's I might have had a little bit of false bravado at that moment.
That sounds like Pete every week.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
He's going to go back to the kitchen.
Don't have Pete on too much alcohol because he'll fucking come for you.
He had you, mate.
Oh, he's an angry drunk.
No, not angry. Not angry. I'll just
militant.
I'll just tell you how I really feel.
He's like that. Pete's like that woman off Come Dine With Me when she gets to the bottom score. I could have given you a 0 because your favourite shit.
You're lucky you didn't have a few more drinks tonight, Dan, with the way you were going on, mate. I tell you.
I love it. Everyone who's watching, if you can please just keep an eye out next weekend for the final. The small team Newcastle against all odds, against Man United.
Can
they do it?
David and Goliath.
David and Goliath.
Dan sold that perfectly. Yeah,
just looking around Wembley, happy to be there. Like, wow,
what a nice day out this is in the capital.
Right. We've got that young lad up top who cost us, a mere 60 million. But he's, it's just back him. He's got to do it. This is it.
40 million less than Anthony.
The show after that game is going to be.
I can't say a word to that, mate. I can't say a word. Hey. See you, Pete.
Here's his Lecky Bill. The Lecky Bill's gone.
Listen, you're going to want to watch this show after that final because it's going to be brilliant. It's going to be, top quality. But Errol, where can they find you, mate?
I love you, mate.
Solitaire side up. Go and check out some of my recent tweets. I'm still doing my boxing thing. I'm on my transformation journey for this charity thing. So, yeah, go check it out if you've got time.
Yeah, go and support that. You can also find him on Redmen TV.
And the Red
crying mostly on watch-alongs, but this time it looks like he's smiling a bit more.
Till next week.
That's because they've turned the corner.
Turn the corner. That's
it's like a U-turn.
Speaking of turning corners, the team that could be turning the corner in the wrong direction, Pete, where can they find you, mate?
Hold on.
Pete, does us a favour. Comes on tonight, does us a favour because he's busy and he just got absolutely battered tonight.
That's what you get.
I'm used to it. Look, if you think this is battered, trust me, this is not at all. I'll take this all day long. But Loaded Bag NUFC. We did a fantastic preview with the Anfield wrap tonight with regards to the big Liverpool game. So check that one out. Lots and lots of other stuff coming up in the build up to the final next week. So keep an eye on all things Loaded Mag. And you've seen we're on the way to 6K. So come and give us a sub.
Good luck. There you go, Dan. Have you launched your thing yet, or are we in the same thing? Every week you're like, next week we're launching it.
Hang on a minute, who are you saying we? There's fucking no one here. It's just me. I'm like a single mum trying to like nurture my new young channel.
Have you started it?
Man, I tell you, it's hard. It's hard.
It is. It bloody is. We will tell you that.
Do a whole episode on that. At Football One, to be honest, at the moment, it's kind of me. At Football One is my non-league sort of, and going up to Scotland and watching them games. There is stuff in the pipeline. It's just I want to get a few things out of the way first. But in fact, actually, just a big shout out again today for one person, Lawless. Absolutely smashed it again tonight, mate. Standing in again. Absolutely.
I can't wait for Potts to come back, to be honest. I tell you what, trying to wrangle like 7 people to get on a podcast is I don't know how he does it. That's why
I showed up 45 seconds before showtime, and the room was just empty. I'm like, Sam, is this normal? There's nobody here.
That the wrong link. He's chopped me on a different link. I was thinking, I was like,
I had to wait for the code. I need the login code. So I'm sitting there waiting for the login code. It's long. Now people know when people say to Matisse on London Clubs Carnage, why haven't you got a Fulham fan? Why haven't you got a Brentford fan or this fan? Because it's just hard to. He wants to keep it 4 because it's much easier. So you can find me on that show. Apart from this show, West Ham Fan TV. Check all that out. I'll be on DR Sports for the watch along for Spurs on Sunday. So you can either find me there or go check out Jason.
Are you going to have that dude that clocked the Chelsea guy on the podcast soon?
Do you know what?
Is he not doing appearances yet?
Yeah. Do you know what? We got to get him on. I've got. Well, once he gets released or whatever, and his case is done. Free Ben Mitchell. Free Ben Mitchell. So, yeah.
I'm jumping off.
All right. Thanks, everyone, and not up the Arsenal. Come on, you Irons. That's our end.